Chapter 402. Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. 4. Should be quiet. Do you want everyone to hear you? Sun Ting raised his eyebrows and reminded him. I'm not drooling. Don't wrong me. My image can't be destroyed in your hands. Lan Lai whispered with a very serious expression on his face. Do you have an image? Sun Ting asked in puzzlement. The first time he met Lan Lai, he was on the streets. Moreover, he was being chased and beaten by his father at the time. The image of the father and son back then was still deeply imprinted in his mind. And it was still so clear. So he didn't think that Lan Lai had any image left to speak of. Of course I do. I'm a handsome and peerless beautiful youth loved by everyone. Lan Lai said narcissistically. Before he could finish speaking, Lung Wudi and Sun Ting turned their heads to the other side. You really don't give me any face. Lan Lai said angrily. Boo. These two detestable fellows. The Sun family probably hates Lung Ruoxue and the others to the core now. Lung Wudi ignored Lan Lai's anger and began chatting with Sun Ting. Yes, isn't that obvious? Sun Ting nodded. Sun Meilin was the prettiest among the many girls in the Sun family. The Sun family had always regarded her as the most important chess piece. Otherwise, why would they spoil her to the heavens? But this chess piece was already stinky now, so I wonder who the Sun family will marry her to? Lung Wudi asked curiously. That will depend on who is the most useful to them, Sun Ting said lightly. Hey, stop talking about that woman, okay? Lan Lai protested. He hated that woman who made him lose his appetite. The competition is about to begin. Lan Lai added. Lung Wudi and Sun Ting looked toward the inner area. As expected, the host was already standing on a high stage, trembling with fear. His face was very pale, and his body was swaying like a willow in the wind. At the seats of Lung Ruoxue and the others. What's wrong with this host? Lung Qingtian asked in puzzlement while looking at the obviously abnormal host. Who knows? Lung Ruoxue said without much interest. At the same time, the host spoke. Today is the first round of the group round robin. The competition officially begins. The host said a few words briefly, and then ran off the stage impatiently and disappeared. Is there a man-eating tiger behind? Why did he run away so quickly? Old Zhao asked in bewilderment. It was too strange. Probably. Lung Ruoxue teased. Lung Ruoxue, my aunt wants to see you and that puppy. Zhou Kuan appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others, slightly gloating. President Zhou, can't you see that the competition has already started? I'm sorry, this young lady isn't free. Lung Ruoxue said without giving him face, not even bothering to look at Zhou Kuan. Humph. Lung Ruoxue, you will regret it if you don't go, Zhou Kuan said fiercely. Then he flicked his sleeves and left. I'm afraid you'll regret it if you go. Old Zhao couldn't help muttering. Sun Meilin's mother is here. Little Snowy, you have to be careful. Lan Ming said with a solemn expression. Sun Meilin's mother was notorious for being sinister and cunning. Moreover, her methods of dealing with people were extremely vicious. Her mother? Is her mother very fierce? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. How should I put it? Her mother and President Wu have a very close relationship, so, staying in the Mystic Association headquarters is like staying in her home. Lan Ming said uncomfortably. He believed that Lung Ruoxue would understand what he meant. Little Snowy, don't be scared. She's just an old woman. I'll resolve her with a sneeze. Icy promised and patted his chest with his little paw. Little Lan Lan, did you hear that? Lung Ruoxue smiled and caressed Icy's soft fur. You're amazing, okay? Lan Ming said helplessly. Alas! What a powerful puppy. It's good that you know. Icy's proud little tail perked up. He was so smug. Lan Ming turned his head to Old Man and reminded. By the way, Old Man, you and Sun Meilin are in the same group. But she has lost so much face, so who knows if she'll still participate in the competition. You have to be careful if she participates. Yes, when will I be appearing? Old Man asked. You're third, Lan Ming said as he looked at the schedule. There were a total of 5 groups now, and there would be 10 matches every day added together. So they were arranged to compete on the same arena. This way, the audience wouldn't miss any exciting matches. Little Snowy, you're in the same group as Old Zhao. Yichen and Feng Jing are in the same group, And Lung Qingtian and Lin Liang are in the same group. Lan Ming continued with a helpless expression. Oh, that means we can advance as long as we defeat the other two opponents. Lung Ruoxue said understandingly. This saved a lot of trouble. Not bad. She was very satisfied with this arrangement. Little Snowy, your other two opponents aren't weaker than you. If they have any secret weapons, I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to obtain victory, Lan Ming analyzed. He wasn't worried about the strength of Lung Ruoxue and the others. What he was more worried about was that those two people would be bribed by Zhou Kuan and the Sun family. That would be very disadvantageous for Lung Ruoxue and the others. Old man Little Lan Lan, you'll age faster if you think too much. Lung Ruoxue teased happily. Lan Ming didn't know what to do with Lung Ruoxue. Little Lan Lan, who's my first opponent? Old Zhao was very curious. Hee, wouldn't he be able to fight less since he was with the girl? That was great. Sunzhou City's Fan Kun, Lan Ming said. 2 of the top 20 were from Sunzhou City. One was Sun Meilin, and the other was Fan Kun. Although Fan Kun wasn't as strong as an Ai Tao, he was much stronger than Old Zhao. For this reason, Zhou Kuan probably found a way to get Fan Kun into this group. Chapter 403. Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. 5. Oh. Old Zhao nodded nonchalantly. Fan Kun should have a secret weapon in his hands, so don't be careless, Lan Ming couldn't help reminding. Yes, Little Lan Lan, it's my turn. Fan Kun, here I come. Old Zhao nodded and said loudly, his face full of excitement. The first match had already ended while they were talking. Old Zhao also heard the referee calling his name, so he dashed out and jumped onto the arena. Old Zhao crossed his arms and stood proudly on the arena. He shouldn't lose to others in disposition. Even though the opponent was an elementary mystic, and his strength was inferior to him, he absolutely couldn't lose to him in terms of aura. Old Zhao admit defeat. Fan Kun raised his head arrogantly. This opening speech was so familiar. Old Zhao couldn't help thinking that someone had said this to him in a certain match. But he won in the end. Hee. Do you think you're fit to call me Old Zhao? You have to call me Grandpa Zhao. Old Zhao roared at the top of his lungs. Immediately, his roar reverberated throughout the entire competition venue. You don't know what's good for you. Fan Kun roared as though it was all for Old Zhao's good. Hee, you're right. I've lived for so long, and I really don't know what's good or bad. But I have a sense of shame. I won't run around the inner area naked. Old Zhao teased happily. You die. Fan Kun was furious. If it weren't for the competition, he would have chosen to leave like the others. Unfortunately, President Zhou didn't allow him to retreat, so he had to bite the bullet and go into battle. Come on. I'm not afraid of you. Old Zhao danced around and winked provocatively. Old Zhao, you're dead meat, Fan Kun said furiously and summoned his pet beast. His pet beast was actually a nauseating earth dragon. Its hundreds of meters long winding body coiled together, and its head and tail couldn't be distinguished at all. There was a faint black liquid flowing in its dark red body, and the mucus on its body kept falling onto the stage, emitting waves of stench. Damn, this thing of yours is really too disgusting. Hurry up and take it back. Old Zhao covered his nose, feeling that it was unbearable. Damn, why would anyone take in such a disgusting pet beast? It's too deceitful. Not only was Old Zhao unable to take it, but even the referee on the arena covered his nose and hid far away. Many people in the audience began to vomit. Why is it this disgusting thing again? Lung Ruoxue looked at the enormous thing on the arena and frowned with some displeasure, her face full of disdain. This earth dragon reminded her of the one she had encountered at the bottom of the volcano. This one seemed to be stronger than that other earth dragon, but it was equally disgusting. Why does this earth dragon look so familiar? Lan Ming murmured to himself, frowning in thought. Familiar? You've seen it before? Lung Ruoxue asked doubtfully. I remember now. I've seen this earth dragon in the Sun family residence before, Lan Ming said after thinking for a long time. Little Snowy, this earth dragon is already a transcendent divine beast. It probably came out to deal with little Zhao's dragon, Icy suddenly said. In fact, he was also a little puzzled because he was really curious how this earth dragon became a transcendent divine beast. Logically speaking, it was impossible for earth dragons to advance to transcendent divine beasts. Then what should we do now? Lan Ming asked worriedly. Will old Zhao be in danger? It's okay. Don't worry, Lung Ruoxua comforted. She knew very well how many trump cards old Zhao had. Don't worry about it. Lan Ming was speechless. Isn't this girl too confident in old Zhao? Just as Lan Ming's imagination was running wild, and he couldn't figure it out no matter what, suddenly, thunderous exclamations erupted from the audience. Heavens! 5 dragons! How can we still live? Wow, it's really too scary. Lan Ming heard the discussions in the audience, and looked up at the arena. His eyes immediately widened, and he took a long time to recover. Where did so many dragons come from? Lan Ming was so excited that he stammered, his handsome face full of disbelief. Of course we raised them ourselves, Lung Ruoxua said nonchalantly. Raised them themselves? They can raise dragons? Lan Ming was depressed. He also wanted to raise one himself, but he didn't know where to find one. On the arena, old Zhao looked at the dragons flying around him, protecting him like the stars surrounding the moon. He was so happy. This feeling was too flashy. But his opponent, Fan Kun, was not in such a good mood. At this moment, Fan Kun's face was pale. His body, which was not very strong to begin with, was trembling like a fallen leaf in the wind as his legs softened bit by bit. Finally, he sat on the floor of the arena without any backbone. There was even liquid flowing out between his legs. The might of the dragons was really too strong. He was already scared silly. The originally proud Earth Dragon was not much better than Fan Kun. It was so scared that it didn't dare to move as soon as the 5 dragons appeared. It wouldn't be afraid if there was only one dragon, but there were 5 of them. In fact, this was also because the level of the Earth Dragon's bloodline was too low. If it were other transcendent divine beasts, although the bloodline pressure would definitely be there when facing 5 dragons, it wouldn't necessarily be without the strength to fight. Children, destroy these 2 disgusting and embarrassing things for Master. Old Zhao ordered with a smile on his face. Yes, Master. The 5 dragons answered in unison and sprayed out several dragon breaths. In the blink of an eye, Fan Kun and the Earth Dragon disappeared from the arena without any resistance. Old Zhao turned his head and said to the referee with a smile, Referee, do I need to wait another 10 minutes? Chapter 404. Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. 6. No need, the referee hurriedly said, so scared that he was trembling. Fuck, what's the big deal with having dragons? You can't scare me like this, he couldn't help cursing. But after thinking about it, he began to cry in his head again. It's great to have a dragon. Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. Oh, but you haven't announced that I won yet. Old Zhao said aggrievedly. He couldn't leave the arena without the referee announcing the result. Old Zhao won, the referee said as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. I won. Old Zhao walked down the arena happily and swaggered back to his seat under the jealous and envious gazes of the audience. The 5 dragons also transformed and surrounded him. Lass, can we advance directly if you kill your opponent later? Old Zhao asked hurriedly after sitting down. Lung Ruoxua nodded and said coldly, Yes, I'll kill him as long as he doesn't admit defeat. Little Snowy, we can't be so violent and bloodthirsty. Lan Ming was at a loss for words. Can you not be so arrogant? In fact, he was wrong. Lung Ruoxua was just trying to save trouble. She was really not arrogant. After old Zhao finished his match, it was old man's turn. But after he went on the arena, his opponent said something to him, and then directly admitted defeat. Old man walked down the arena gloomily, returned to his seat, and sat down without a word. What's wrong with you, old fellow? You're still frowning after winning. Old Zhao asked in surprise. This was too unlike the old man he knew. You still have the cheek to say that even though it's all because of you. Old man said through gritted teeth. His opponent was about the same strength as him. He originally wanted to have a good spar with his opponent, but he didn't expect him to admit defeat. Alas, it was really infuriating. I didn't ask him to admit defeat. What does it have to do with me? Old Zhao pouted aggrievedly. If you didn't show 5 dragons at once, he wouldn't have admitted defeat. Old Man roared. What was the point of the competition if people kept admitting defeat like this? These people really had no professional ethics and were not dedicated at all. He was full of complaints now. What did that person say to you? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. He asked me if I had a dragon. I was honest and said yes. Then he directly admitted defeat. Boo-hoo. Old Man was regretful. If he had known earlier, he would have said no. Why was he so honest? Do you have a dragon too? Lan Ming thought he heard wrongly and couldn't help asking. Boo. Could all these people have dragons? Did dragons really become cabbages? If this old thing has dragons, why wouldn't I? Old Man said, very displeased. That's not what I mean. Lan Ming was a little helpless. He knew that these two old men were a little at odds, but he didn't expect that Old Man would even fuss over his words. Let me tell you, Brat Lan. I have everything this old thing has. Old Man said angrily. He was really angry. Got it. Lan Ming nodded repeatedly, like a little wife. Boo-hoo, he didn't dare to spout nonsense. Haha. Lung Ruoxua laughed disloyally when she saw Lan Ming's aggrieved expression. Little Snowy, you really don't have any sympathy, Lan Ming complained, his eyes full of bitterness. Haha, it's good that you know. Lung Ruoxua said happily. Ruoxua, it's my turn, Lin Liang said. Okay. Lung Ruoxua nodded slightly. After speaking, Lin Liang stood up and walked toward the arena. Lin Liang stood on the arena, but his opponent had not arrived yet. After waiting for a few minutes, the opponent finally came. Lin Liang heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he was really afraid that this opponent would shrink back at the last minute. Lin Liang's opponent was a man in his 30s. He had delicate facial features and a tall figure. His strength was on par with him, and they were both elementary mystics. Before the battle, I have a question for you. You have to answer me honestly, the man asked cautiously, his expression abnormally serious. What is it? Tell me. Lin Liang's heart skipped a beat, and a bad feeling emerged in his heart. I want to know, do you have a dragon? The man asked carefully. Don't be scared. I don't have a dragon, Lin Liang replied after being stunned for half a second. It wasn't that he was dishonest. It was just that he really wanted to compete with this person. Referee, I admit defeat, the man said directly to the referee after hearing what Lin Liang said. Lin Liang was dumbfounded. He said there was no dragon. Was he wrong? I said I don't have a dragon, Lin Liang said with certainty. So what? What if you're lying to me? The man's face was full of disbelief. Moreover, the more Lin Liang said he didn't have one, the more he didn't believe him. Besides, he had already decided that he wouldn't fight Lin Liang no matter what, regardless if Lin Liang had a dragon or not. He didn't want to lose his life just to show off. Hearing this, Lin Liang was completely depressed. After the referee announced Lin Liang's victory, he lowered his head, returned to his seat in a depressed mood, and sat down without a word. Haha, don't tell me that Brat Lin is like me. Old Man looked at Lin Liang, who was in the same boat, and his mood became much better. I'm different from you. I told him that I didn't have a dragon, Lin Liang said gloomily. Then why did he admit defeat? Old Man couldn't understand. What was there to be afraid of when there were no dragons? How could a mystic be so timid? He didn't believe me, Lin Liang said helplessly. Alas, those mystics were all frightened now. It probably wouldn't be easy to trick them into fighting with him. Hee, that's good. We can save time, Old Zhao said happily. Save your head. Lin Liang and Old Man roared in unison. Mystics who could enter the top 20 basically had some strength, so they cherished this opportunity and wanted to have good fights with them. However, they didn't fight them at all. Alas. Chapter 405. Don't be afraid, I don't have a dragon one. Don't be angry. At this point, being angry won't help. Lan Ming comforted them. Alas. He didn't expect things to turn out like this either. Old Zhao's 5 dragons scared everyone, and no one dared to take action anymore. This was likely something no one expected. Moreover, this time's mystic competition was probably the most exciting but least suspenseful one in all the previous years. Alas! Everyone couldn't help sighing, and no one said anything. Immediately afterward, Lung Qingtian, Feng Jing, and the first elder also went on stage. They also encountered the same situation, and their opponents even admitted defeat without saying anything to them. Swear, I think we can pack up and get ready to go back, Lung Qingtian said with a black face, very displeased. He was full of anger now because his opponent immediately admitted defeat without even saying a word. Ooh, Grandpa, Freak and I have yet to compete, Lung Ruoxue reminded as 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. Alas! Grandpa is also agitated. What compete? You'll just take a leaf out of our book, go up, and then come back, Lung Qingtian said. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Grandpa, can you not be so direct? Little Snowy, it's your turn, Lan Ming reminded. Okay, I'm going then. Lung Ruoxue stood up, looked at everyone, and slowly walked onto the arena. On the arena, Lung Ruoxue looked at her opponent helplessly and pondered in her heart. Am I that scary? Such a strong man is actually so scared that his face is pale, his body is trembling, and he's looking at me with a face full of fear as if I had done something heinous. Referee, I admit defeat, the man hurriedly said as he stole a glance at Lung Ruoxue. Wait, I don't have a dragon. What are you afraid of? Lung Ruoxue asked, unwilling to give up. You have a dog. It's even more terrifying than a dragon, the man said in horror while looking at Icy, who was lying on Lung Ruoxue's shoulder and pretending to be asleep with his eyes closed. At this moment, seemingly hearing the man's words, Icy's little ears twitched, scaring the man away. Lung Ruoxue looked at the man disappear at the speed of light, and turned her head helplessly to the referee. Lung Ruoxue victory! The referee hurriedly shouted and then swiftly left the arena. Lung Ruoxue walked off the arena and returned to her seat. Haha, lass, you're back, old Zhao said with a smile, in a very good mood. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Swear, it's my turn. Freak hugged Lung Ruoxue gently. Lung Ruoxue looked at Freak, who had already walked onto the arena, and said to Lung Qingtian and the others, Okay, Grandpa. We can go back. Let's go to the passageway and wait for Yi Chun. Lung Qingtian stood up. Okay. Everyone stood up and walked toward the passageway to the inner area as if there was no one else around. When Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived, Freak happened to walk out. Without a doubt, his opponent had directly admitted defeat. Everyone smiled at each other and returned to their residence together. In the courtyard, everyone divided the work and busied themselves preparing a feast. Little Snowy, I've lived for more than 30 years, and this is the first time I've seen a mystic competition that can be won so easily. The previous competitions were very intense. Lan Ming felt the unfriendly gazes of everyone, and the pressure multiplied, so he quickly corrected himself. I'm not saying that this competition isn't intense enough, but the suspense isn't much. Do you mean that this is all our fault? Lung Ruoxue glanced at Lan Ming lightly. No. The others are too weak, Lan Ming said ingratiatingly, his little heart thumping nervously. How many days until the competition ends? Lung Ruoxue asked. Lan Ming calculated the time and said, probably another half a month. That long? Lung Ruoxue frowned slightly. It's always been like this, Lan Ming explained. At this moment, someone knocked on the door. President Lan, I am Elder Su. An old voice sounded outside. Elder Su? What is he doing here? Lan Ming was a little puzzled. Elder Su was President Wu's trusted aide, and usually ignored him when he saw him. Now he actually took the initiative to look for him. It must be nothing good. You'll know when you let him in. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Okay, you'll let him in now. Lan Ming went to open the door. Haha. President Lan, you're all here. This is great. Elder Su stretched his neck out from outside the door and looked in, his face full of flattery. Yes. May I know why you're here, Elder Su? Lan Ming said with a spurious smile. President Lan, are you planning to let me stand outside? Elder Su asked with a smile and didn't answer Lan Ming's question. Elder Su, please enter. Lan Ming stretched out his hand and made an inviting gesture. Haha. Congratulations, everyone. Elder Su said immediately when he walked into the courtyard and saw Lung Ruoxue and the others. President Lan, why did you let a stranger in so casually? Lung Ruoxue said with a stern face, a little displeased. Elder Su was stunned. Did he hear it right? What did that ugly woman say? He is Elder Su of the headquarters, Lan Ming said while suppressing his laughter. The headquarters is really too rude. Why did they send a loser one? We want Eldering to. Lung Ruoxue pretended to be stupid. My last name has a different character from Lu's. Elder Su explained very patiently, but he was quite dissatisfied in his heart. He wouldn't have come if not for the president. He definitely wouldn't be here to be angered by an elementary mystic. What a bumpkin from who knows where. So uncultured. They're the same, no difference. Lung Ruoxue said with a silly smile. One Su has the same sound as lose in Chinese, tuing means win in Chinese. Chapter 406. Don't be afraid, I don't have a dragon too. They are different. Elder Su roared angrily. Wow. Freak, this old man is so fierce. Lung Ruoxue was so scared that she hurriedly hid in Freak's arms to seek comfort. Damn old man. Why are you scaring my woman? She's very timid. Freak threatened fiercely while hugging Lung Ruoxue tightly and glaring at the uninvited Elder Su with a displeased face. Elder Su was speechless, and his forehead was full of black lines. He didn't have any inkling that Lung Ruoxue was timid. How could someone who dared to offend the Sun family be timid? Alas! Elder Su even had the intention to bang his head against the wall when he encountered these unreasonable people. I didn't do it on purpose, Elder Su said, wanting to cry. Boo-hoo. He really regretted coming here to suffer this. Yes, you did it on purpose, Freak said with certainty. I really didn't. Elder Su felt wronged. He clearly didn't say or do anything here. Damn old man, tell me quickly. Why are you here? Hurry up and scram after speaking, Freak said irritably. I'm here to inform you that all the competitors have forfeited except for the 8 of you. So the group stage has been cancelled. The finals will begin tomorrow. Elder Su was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. But he still had to forcefully finish what he wanted to say. Who asked him to take on this task? Regret. Oh, that's all? Freak asked lightly. Elder Su wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and quickly said, yes. Alas. Why did this man give him so much pressure? Hurry up and scram before I kick you out. Freak roared with widened eyes. You're too rude, Elder Su said angrily. He was an elder of the Mystic Association headquarters, and a trusted aide of the president. Everyone was respectful no matter where he went. He had never received such treatment. Politeness is for people, Freak said lightly. What he implied was that Elder Su wasn't human. You barbarians. Elder Su almost fainted from anger. Are you really waiting for me to kick you? Freak frowned in puzzlement. He little Chun, don't kick. I'll just sneeze, interrupted Icy, who was watching the commotion by the side, unwilling to be left out. Elder Su was about to go crazy from anger, but he disappeared with a whoosh. Little Icy is still the most powerful, Freak said with a smile. Of course he. Icy smiled proudly, his little tail curling up. Say, what do you think Wu Gong is doing? Why did all those people admit defeat? Even Su Nan admitted defeat. What's going on? Lan Ming was puzzled. Moreover, he felt uneasy. He thought that this matter wasn't so easy. Old little Lan, why are you thinking so much? Aren't you tired? It's not bad that they admitted defeat. At least my reward is about to arrive, Lung Ruoxue said happily. They could leave after the competition ended. But I feel a little uneasy. Lan Ming voiced his concern. It's useless to be uneasy. Worrying won't solve the problem. What should come will come, Lung Ruoxue comforted. Alas. Lan Ming just couldn't bear not paying attention to it. Little Lan, don't even think about it. It won't be easy for them to plot against us, old Zhao comforted. Yes, that's right. The meal is ready. Everyone eat quickly. Rest early after eating, Feng Jing mediated. Lung Ruoxue and the others were very happy during this meal, but Lan Ming was preoccupied. After dinner and tidying up, Lung Ruoxue said, "I'm going to rest. We're going back to our rooms too." Lung Qingtian and the others looked at Lan Ming. "Okay, I'm going back too," Lan Ming said. The next morning, Lung Ruoxue and the others had breakfast, and then went to the competition venue. Although there was no longer much suspense in the competition, and the top 3 spots in this competition would definitely come from among the 8 of them, there were still many spectators at the venue. After all, they were still very curious about who the top 3 would end up being. Moreover, they might even be able to appreciate the fierce competition on the arena. After everyone sat down in their seats, Lan Ming looked at everyone with a puzzled expression. "Why didn't you ask me about the rules of the finals?" Lan Ming finally couldn't help asking curiously. These people were strangely too quiet. "What's there to ask? We've already decided to forfeit," Old Zhao said nonchalantly. Last night, they had secretly discussed it, and everyone unanimously agreed that they had to end the competition as soon as possible so that they could leave this place. After all, they were new and really too unfamiliar with this boundless heaven continent. Therefore, after completing the competition, they planned to travel around properly. Forfeit? Why? Don't you want the reward anymore? Lan Ming said in surprise. He couldn't understand. The current situation was good, so why did they want to forfeit? Could forfeiting be contagious? Why not? We didn't say that everyone would forfeit. Last little Chen Chen, and Old Lung won't forfeit, Old Zhao explained. How could they let go of the rewards that they deserved? Oh, you scared me. I thought you didn't even want the rewards. Lan Ming said as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Little Lan Lan, don't forget our appearance fee. Lung Ruoxue reminded with a smile, raising her eyebrows slightly. Little Snowy, you're already very rich now. Why do you still care about the appearance fee of tens of millions? Lan Ming asked in disbelief. Of course I care. Tens of millions is enough for ordinary people to live for a lifetime. It's not a small sum, Lung Ruoxue said very seriously. She had already decided to glorify the spirit of frugality after coming to the boundless heaven continent. Here. I've already prepared it, Lan Ming said helplessly and handed Lung Ruoxue an anonymous silver card. Alas! He had become very helpless since meeting this girl. Chapter 407. Don't be afraid, I don't have a dragon 3. Little Lan Lan, you're very trustworthy. Remember to take care of me if you have any business in the future. Lung Ruoxue teased as she put away the silver card. Little Snowy, your asking price is too high. I probably won't be able to afford to ask you if there are a few more times. Lan Ming joked happily. It's okay. I can give you a discount, Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. That's more like it. Lan Ming nodded with satisfaction. At this moment, the host's voice sounded from the stage. The host stood on the stage again and began speaking on the loudspeaker. What was rare was that not only did he not get down to business this time, but he even began to talk nonstop. Only when the audience was a little impatient did he stop speaking tactfully and announce the official start of the finals. But after waiting for a long time, no one saw the participants of the finals go on stage. They couldn't help whispering and discussing. What's going on? Why aren't they competing yet? That's right. I clearly saw Lung Ruoxue and the others. What's the situation now? The audience was puzzled, and the venue blew up again. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue and the others were at the referee's seats communicating with the head referee. What did you say? Say it again? The head referee looked at Lung Ruoxue and the others in disbelief, thinking that he had misheard. I said we want to forfeit. Old man said word by word in case this head referee was so old that he couldn't hear clearly. In fact, they had collectively come to the referee's seats while the host was speaking and said that they wanted to forfeit. But after 10 minutes, this so-called head referee was still asking them the same question. No one will compete if you forfeit. This is the finals. None of you are allowed to forfeit. The head referee roared loudly and panted heavily. This was too childish. He had been in charge of so many competitions, but this was the first time he had encountered such a thing. Moreover, today was only the first round of the finals. During the last round of the finals, President Wu not only wanted to watch the competition, But he also planned to take in disciples. If they all forfeited, President Wu would skin him alive. Only the 5 of them forfeited. The 3 of us didn't say we're forfeiting. Lung Ruoxue reminded kindly. Alas! The poor old man was immediately dumbfounded when he heard that they were forfeiting. He couldn't even understand what they were saying. You want forfeit? The head referee asked uncertainly. He had clearly heard that they were forfeiting just now. I want forfeit. I still want the reward. Lung Ruoxue said honestly. Oh, the head referee wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Fortunately, there were still a few seedlings left. Boo. President Wu shouldn't blame me then, right? Since there are matches, can we forfeit? Old Zhao said impatiently. The matches for today have been arranged, so you can't forfeit now. Of course, admitting defeat is possible. The head referee braced himself. What he implied was that they had to put on a show and go on stage. After all, the audience at the scene had spent money to enter. Oh, all right then. But after our matches this time, we won't do anything else. Old Zhao said very understandingly. Lan Ming had already reminded them just now that it was a little late for them to forfeit, so it probably wouldn't be approved. Therefore, they were already prepared, and now was the time to sell a favor to the head referee. Okay, you can forfeit after your matches today, the head referee said gratefully, thinking that these people were sensible. At least this way, President Wu would have no reason to blame him. Then let the competition begin quickly. Let's end this quickly. Old Zhao said anxiously. Okay, the competition can begin. The head referee turned to the referee beside him and ordered. After receiving the notification, the referee walked onto the arena. On the main stage. Hey, what do you think Lung Ruoxue and the others are planning? Lan Lai asked the people beside him with a puzzled face. I don't know, Sun Tung answered coolly. Won't we know if we continue watching? Lung Wudi said nonchalantly. Lan Lai rolled his eyes at Sun Tung and Lung Wudi, and then said to Su Nan, why did you forfeit? Alas! He knew that he wouldn't get the answer he wanted from these 2 people. These 2 boring fellows. Of course I have to forfeit if I can't beat them. Su Nan said nonchalantly. In fact, it wasn't a problem for him to enter the top 10. But he hadn't thought about it before because those dragons were really too abnormal. He didn't have such powerful pet beasts. If not for those dragons, you would have had a chance to enter the top 5, Lung Wudi said lightly. Lung Ruoxue, Yi Chun and Old Man were definitely stronger than Su Nan. As for Lung Qingtian and Lin Liang, their strength should be on par with Su Nan. It was difficult to say who would win. Chance to enter the top 5? What does that mean? Lan Lai blinked, his handsome face full of question marks. He can enter the top 5 if he performs beyond his level. Otherwise, he won't have a chance, Lung Wudi explained lightly. He also rolled his eyes at Lan Lai, who was stuffing food into his mouth nonstop. He really didn't understand how a guy who only knew how to eat and sleep advanced to Mystic Monarch. Oh. Lan Lai nodded and turned his gaze to the arena. Where is everyone? Why isn't there anyone competing? Lan Lai looked at the empty arena and the mostly empty audience seats in puzzlement. They've left, Sun Ting answered coolly, stood up and prepared to leave. Why did they leave? Aren't the matches not over yet? Lan Lai was puzzled. Could Sun Ting want to leave too? Today's matches are over, Lung Wudi said helplessly. Alas, people who only cared about food. They had poor eyesight and were actually deaf. How pitiful. No way. I just saw the referee go on the arena. Lan Lai was depressed. There was only the referee standing on the arena, so why did the matches end? Chapter 408. Don't be afraid, I don't have a dragon for. People admitted defeat in all 4 matches, so the matches for today naturally ended, Lung Wudi said calmly. Alas! Those people were really too ruthless. He had participated in 3 competitions, but he had never known that the finals could be so easy. He was really envious, jealous and hateful. Then what should we do? Lan Lai was puzzled. He still wanted to enjoy the exciting battles, but they didn't give him the chance at all. Let's go back. Lung Wudi turned and left. Wait for me. Lan Lai hurriedly chased after them. at the residence of Lung Ruoxue and the others. After today's matches ended, they left the competition venue directly from the back entrance and returned to their residence. Can I admit defeat directly tomorrow? Lung Qingtian teased happily as everyone gathered in the living room. Grandpa, I'll admit defeat tomorrow, Freak said ingratiatingly. He was referring to the match between him and Lung Qingtian tomorrow. He had to respect the old and care for the young. There's no need. I'm old, and I don't care about fame, benefits and so on anymore. In the future, it will be the world of you young people, Lung Qingtian said in disapproval. All right. Freak knew that he couldn't object to his words. Little Lon Lon, there are only the three of us left now. Can we settle it in a day tomorrow? Lung Ruoxue asked uncertainly. According to tradition, there will be 2 rounds tomorrow. The top 3 will emerge after all of them are over, Lan Ming explained. That's good. Phew, the entire competition could finally end tomorrow. Lung Ruoxue immediately felt much more relaxed, even though she didn't have much pressure to begin with. Little Snowy, where do you intend to go after the competition tomorrow? Lan Ming asked sadly, his clear eyes full of reluctance. I don't know. Do you have any good recommendations? It's best if it's a place with a lot of medicinal herbs and minerals, and where we can train. Lung Ruoxue stated her request. I actually know of a place that meets your requirements, Lan Ming said with several black lines hanging on his head. Alas, this girl's requirements were really high, but there really was such a place on the boundless heaven continent. It was just that it was too dangerous inside, so very few people dared to go there. Where? Lung Ruoxue asked with interest. That place is called the Dark Night Seas, Lan Ming said very cautiously. Little Snowy, you can't go there, Icy, who had his eyes closed, suddenly said. Why? Lung Ruoxue was even more curious when she heard that she couldn't go. A place that Icy said she couldn't go should be very dangerous. That is one of the most dangerous places on the boundless heaven continent. There are many transcendent divine beasts inside. Moreover, that place has no distinction between day and night, and it's forever shrouded in darkness. I'm not 100% sure that I can protect you wherever you go, so you can't just go anywhere now, Icy said very seriously. People had to at least have the strength of a mystic supremacy if they wanted to go wherever they wished. Moreover, they couldn't go alone. Otherwise, even a mystic supremacy wouldn't be able to return alive. Not now. When can I go? Lung Ruoxue asked in disappointment. She also knew that her current strength was too low. Your current strength is definitely not enough. But if you can have the strength of a mystic sovereign, I can still guarantee that you will come out alive, Icy said after some thought. He was not an ordinary transcendent divine beast, so protecting a mystic sovereign wasn't a problem. Oh, little Lon Lon, you better tell me a place where I can go now, Lung Ruoxue complained, her watery eyes glaring fiercely at Lan Ming. Lan Ming thought for a while. Then let's go to Blue Cloud City. Don't you need medicinal herbs? There will be a grand medicinal herb exchange meeting there soon, and many alchemists will go to exchange. Blue Cloud City? The main city of the Lan family? Lung Ruoxue asked. Yes, Blue Cloud City organizes such a medicinal herb exchange every year. The Lan family has a few alchemists, so they value medicinal herbs very much, Lan Ming explained. Miss, the medicinal herb exchange in Blue Cloud City is very famous on the boundless heaven continent. Countless alchemists and medicinal herb merchants gather every year. But the medicinal herb exchange requires an invitation. Even alchemists might not be able to go, Zheng En said. An exchange meeting of that scale was undoubtedly attractive to alchemists. But ordinary alchemists or nameless alchemists like him who had no status at all were not qualified to enter. I see. Lung Ruoxue glared at Lan Ming with some dissatisfaction. Why does this fellow keep talking about places we can't go? Is he doing it on purpose? Don't stare at me. Since I said so, you can definitely go, Lan Ming said helplessly. Why didn't this girl have much trust in him? He was depressed. Don't tell me I have to go to the Alchemist Association to do a level appraisal? Lung Ruoxue said with a slight warning tone. She didn't want to go to the Alchemist Association now, nor did she want too many people to know her identity as an alchemist. No need. Although I can't invite you with my identity as a member of the Lan family, I can still ask for a few invitations for you, Lan Ming said confidently. Lan Lai happened to be here, so he would ask him for them tomorrow. Oh, that's more like it. Lung Ruoxue was very satisfied with Lan Ming's response. By the way, when will the exchange begin? Lung Ruoxue asked. A month and a half later. I was planning on going there after the competition ended. The time was just right. But the competition has ended early, so there will be a period of time before the exchange meeting. But if we travel slower, we will only arrive at Blue Cloud City a few days before the exchange meeting, Lan Ming said. Grandpa, let's go to Blue Cloud City first, Lung Ruoxue said to Lung Qingtian and the others. Okay. Everyone nodded. Medicinal herbs were also very important to them. Alright, it's getting late. Everyone rest early, Lung Ruoxue said and left the living room with Freak without looking back. The next morning, Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived at the competition venue on time. There seems to be a lot fewer people watching today, Old Man said from his seat. Chapter 409. Don't be afraid, I don't have a dragon 5. Isn't that normal? Everyone knows the result of today's competition, Lin Liang said. Who would spend money to watch a competition that they already knew the result of? Although mystics were not short of money, they wouldn't waste money. That's right. Old Man nodded. Hee, they must have given the Mystic Association headquarters a headache. There seemed to be a few new faces on the main stage, Old Zhao said as he looked around and saw the main stage as though he had discovered a new continent. The one in the middle is Wugong. Lan Ming pointed at the middle-aged man in black sitting in the middle of the main stage. So he's Wugong. He's not that good-looking. Why do you say mystics are handsome men and beautiful women? Old Zhao said with disappointment. I mean most mystics, Lan Ming said helplessly. Make yourself clear. I waited for nothing. Old Zhao complained unhappily. Lan Ming was speechless. Boo. Why did this become his fault? These people were really too unreasonable. They only knew how to bully him. Haha. Everyone couldn't help laughing when they saw Lan Ming's pitiful appearance. The competition has begun, Feng Jing reminded. Alright everyone, quiet down. The show is about to begin, Old Zhao said excitedly. On the arena, Lung Ruoxue and Freak stood facing each other. Their eyes were tender and glued to each other. No one said anything, and they just kept looking at each other. Ahem. The referee couldn't take it anymore. He coughed twice and tried to remind them that it was a competition and everyone was watching. Stop being so mushy. Unfortunately, the two of them ignored the referee and continued looking at each other without saying a word. The match has begun. Are you still going to compete? The referee softly reminded helplessly. This competition could be considered the most abnormal one he had ever encountered. The two of them didn't even look at the referee. After a long while, Freak finally spoke. I admit defeat. Lung Ruoxue a victory, the referee shouted while suppressing his anger and cursing in his head. Damn, you wasted so much time admitting defeat. Is this fun? Then it was Lung Ruoxue versus Lung Qingtian. After Lung Qingtian went on the arena, he chatted with his precious granddaughter for a while. After chatting enough, he said, Referee, I admit defeat. With that, he jumped off the arena without waiting for the referee to announce the result. Lung Ruoxue a victory, the referee announced weakly. He was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. After that, Lung Qingtian and Yi Chen stood on the arena again. The battle between them was also the last match of this mystic competition. Referee, I admit defeat. The two of them said at almost the same time. Brat, who allowed you to admit defeat? Lung Qingtian roared. Didn't they agree beforehand? Grandpa, it's not bad if we draw. Freak said with a smile, his face full of flattery. Which one of you is admitting defeat? The referee asked while clutching his chest and panting heavily. Me. The two of them said in unison again. Both of you admit defeat. How do you want me to judge? The referee roared furiously. Mystic competitions had always been life and death competitions. People either won or lost. There had never been a situation where they admitted defeat at the same time. You can rule it a draw. Freak suggested very kindly. Mystic competitions have never had a draw, the referee roared. Then start with us. Freak said with a light smile. The rules were dead, and people were alive. How could they not innovate? All right. Lung Qingtian versus Yi Chun draw. The referee hurriedly announced, not wanting to be angered to death. He could tell that these people were each more difficult to deal with than the other. It was better for him to leave early. After the referee announced the result, he left the arena angrily. But Lung Qingtian and Yi Chun didn't leave. Instead, they found a place to sit down. Lung Ruoxua walked onto the arena again and sat down beside them. The audience, referees, and people on the main stage were all surprised when they heard the referee's announcement. Then a few drops of cold sweat rolled down their foreheads. President, what do you think? The head referee walked to the main stage trembling and looked at Wugong fearfully. Cold sweat rolled down his back. Boo! Why did they always make him worry? He had already been scolded badly by the president yesterday. It seemed like it was inevitable today. Alas! Aren't the results out already? Wugong said coldly with a dark face. First place is out, but second and third place. The head referee stopped mid-sentence. Isn't it a draw? Then let's put them both in second place. There's no third place in this competition. Wugong said bluntly and then fell silent. Yes. The head referee handed the final result to the host after receiving Wugong's instructions. After receiving the results of the competition, the host climbed onto the stage again and announced very seriously with the loudspeaker in his hand. Next, let's invite President Wu to present the award to the top 3, the host said excitedly. On the arena, Lung Ruoxua and the others were still sitting lazily on the ground and chatting, not at all aware that they were the top 3. Why are you still sitting? Hurry up and get up. The president will be here soon. The head referee went up the arena early. He almost fainted when he saw the 3 people. This was too casual. Almost here? Doesn't that mean he's not here yet? Let's take a break first. It's quite tiring after 2 battles. Lung Ruoxua said without any intention of getting up. The head referee really hoped that he could faint now, but he just happened to be very energetic. Boo. Now he was sure that these 3 people were definitely doing it on purpose. They wanted to prank him on purpose. Damn it. He had never offended them. You all admitted defeat in both your matches. You didn't even fight. Are you still tired? The head referee couldn't help shouting at the top of his lungs after a moment of silence. Where did Lan Ming find these malignant stars? They were really infuriating. But he also knew that he had to settle these 3 people before the president came up. Otherwise, he couldn't guarantee that the president wouldn't be angered to death by them after coming up to present the awards. Chapter 410. Luring the dog into the house 1. I'm under a lot of pressure. Lung Ruoxua lied through her teeth, but she was muttering in her head, why hasn't Wugong come up yet? He's so slow at awarding. Please stand up first, okay? The referee had no choice but to lower his body and coax them. Boo. The president was about to arrive. What benefits will it bring us? Freak raised his eyes and asked indifferently. What he implied was that they wouldn't get up first if there were no benefits. The head referee was stunned and a little dumbfounded. Did I hear it right? They actually want benefits from me? Damn, what is this? How can there be such a person in the world? How hateful. Yi Chun, how can we ask for benefits from others? Lung Qingtian said with disapproval. Ooh. Well said. There are still sensible people. The head referee was so touched that his eyes almost welled up with tears. However, Lung Qingtian deliberately paused. The grateful head referee's heart immediately rose to his throat again when he heard this. He looked at Lung Qingtian cautiously, afraid that he would say something shocking. Ooh, I was wrong. This old man isn't a good person either. However, if the other party is the head referee, it doesn't matter, Lung Qingtian said with a smirk. It does. I'm very poor. The head referee hurriedly said and pretended to be pitiful. Head referee, tell the president to give us the rewards directly so that he doesn't have to present us with them. Lung Ruoxua said. Yes. Our time is very precious, Freak echoed. This is against the rules," the head referee said softly as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Boo. He felt that it was better to faint, but he wasn't given the chance. "Oh, how about you tell Wugong that we couldn't wait and left first and ask him to send the rewards to our residence?" Lung Ruoxue suggested after some thought. "What benefits do you want?" The head referee admitted defeat. "You can owe us first. We'll let you know when we think of it." Lung Ruoxue raised her eyebrows slightly and looked at the head referee. In fact, they were just teasing this old man for fun. They didn't expect him to take it seriously. Ehe. The head referee was stunned. How could this be owed? He really couldn't understand the thoughts of these three people now. The head referee inadvertently looked up and saw that Wugong was only a few meters away from the arena. He couldn't help asking anxiously, "President Wu is here. Can you get up first?" "Grandpa, let's give the head referee face," Lung Ruoxue said very kindly, and then stood up from the ground. "All right." Lung Qingtian also gave him face. "Head referee, don't forget the benefits you owe us." Freak reminded and stood up. "I won't forget," the head referee hurriedly said. "Phew, that was close." As soon as Lung Ruoxue and the others stood up, Wugong led a group of elders onto the arena. After getting on the arena, Wugong saw Lung Ruoxue and the others standing on it. A trace of disgust quickly flashed in his shrewd and gloomy eyes, but his face was full of smiles and very amiable. At the same time, Lung Ruoxue and the others were also looking at the legendary Wugong. He was a middle-aged man in his 50s. He wasn't tall and was even slightly chubby. His appearance was ordinary, but his eyes revealed his nature. He was definitely a narrow-minded man who would seek revenge for the slightest slights. To put it bluntly, he was a villain. Moreover, the flash of disgust in his eyes just now didn't escape the eyes of Lung Ruoxue and the others. "Haha, you must be the top 3 of our mystic competition. How outstanding!" Wugong praised without thinking, his eyes full of appreciation. Lung Ruoxue and the others ignored him. "How dare you? The president is talking to you. How dare you not answer?" Someone behind Wugong scolded. "Is the president here?" "Where?" Lung Ruoxue pretended to be stupid. "The one in front of you is the president," the person said again. "Is that so? But I heard that the president has been in seclusion. When did he come out?" Lung Ruoxue looked at Wugong doubtfully, the word disbelief written all over her face. "The president is in seclusion. I am the vice president of the headquarters. However, everyone calls me the president because they respect me," Wugong explained patiently. He looked amiable, but in fact, he was so angry that he wanted to chop Lung Ruoxue into pieces. "Oh, but even if the president is in seclusion, they can't call you president, right? This will cause people who don't know the truth to misunderstand," Lung Ruoxue said very naively, her eyes full of innocence. "Moreover, the vice president is the vice president. If people call the vice president the president, it's also disrespectful to the president, right, vice president?" Lung Ruoxue added. "Yes, you're right." Wugong suppressed his anger. "Damn woman. How dare she go against me? Humph. I won't let her go. Vice President, you're still the sensible one. Unlike some people who only know how to curry favor. Vice President, you have to stay away from those people," Lung Ruoxue suggested and kept calling him Vice President. "Hehe, you're right. But today is a good day. Let's not talk about those disappointing things." Wugong cunningly changed the topic. His goal hadn't been achieved yet, so he would let this woman go today and slowly deal with her in the future. "Vice President, where are our rewards?" Lung Ruoxue stretched out her fair little hand. "These are your rewards. Congratulations on obtaining good results." Wugong took out 3 storage rings and handed them to the 3 of them formally. "Thank you, Vice President," Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. She poured all the things in the ring onto the arena and sat on the ground to count them one by one. She even took out a piece of paper that she had prepared beforehand to check carefully according to the content on the paper. Freak and Lung Qingtian followed suit. Chapter 411. Luring the dog into the house. 2. Wugong and the others were at a loss for words when they saw Lung Ruoxue. and the others taking inventory seriously. The corners of their mouths twitched nonstop as they cursed in their heads. Damn, do they have to be so embarrassing? Where did these bumpkins come from? They're already mystics. Don't they know they can examine the contents with their divine sense? Was there a need to pour them all out? An hour later, Lung Ruoxue and the others finally counted everything. Vice President, nothing is missing. Lung Ruoxue praised and stored the things on the ground back into the ring. Have you checked everything? Wu Gong's mouth twitched. Damn it, of course nothing is missing. Yes, Grandpa Freak, let's go. Lung Ruoxue answered and turned to Lung Qingtian and Freak. Okay. The two nodded. The three of them walked down the arena tacitly. Wait. Wu Gong called out to the three of them. He was furious, but things weren't over yet. How could he let them leave just like that? Vice President, haven't you given us the rewards? Lung Ruoxue turned around and reminded him. There are other rewards, Wu Gong said. We aren't interested in anything except money and material things. Lung Ruoxue replied lightly. Are you not interested in being my disciple? Wu Gong asked with a friendly smile. I don't believe they won't be tempted. Many people want to be my disciple. Your disciple? Doesn't that mean we'll be the same as President Zhou? Lung Ruoxue said with a face full of surprise. Yes. If you become my disciple, Zhou Kuan will be your senior brother, Wu Gong said confidently. I knew this ugly woman would be moved. Seems being my disciple is quite attractive. He was so pleased. Be Zhou Kun's junior sister? Lung Ruoxue frowned as if she was thinking. Yes. Your senior brother is very popular with women, Wu Gong coaxed. Lung Ruoxue looked like she was most likely charmed by his disciple. Haha, this is great. He believed his goal would be easily achieved. But I don't want to have the same master as him. Zhou Kuan is really too annoying, and anyone willing to take him in as a disciple is most likely not much better, so let's forget it. Lung Ruoxue said as if she had made a major decision. What did you say? Wu Gong widened his eyes and looked at Lung Ruoxue in disbelief. The people behind Wu Gong were also in disbelief. Their hearts were in their throats, and cold sweat dripped down their bodies. They would definitely be implicated by Lung Ruoxue. The president loved to vent his anger. Now they saw the president lose face. When this was over, they were doomed. They were dead meat. I said, I refuse to become Zhou Kun's junior sister. I can't afford to lose face. Lung Ruoxue said clearly and understandingly. Say it again. Wu Gong said, his face as colorful as a color palette. Aren't you still young? Why aren't your ears working well? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. Lung Ruoxue, am asking you to say it again. Wu Gong roared without caring about his image. All right. Seeing that you're old, I'll say it again. You have to listen carefully. This is the last time. Lung Ruoxue reminded. Tell me. Wu Gong roared, his face red. I said, I refuse to become Zhou Kun's junior sister. And anyone willing to take him in as a disciple is most likely not much better. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Anyway, she had offended many people recently. As the saying went, there was no need to worry about debts when there were too many. So she didn't care if she offended this centipede one. Moreover, this centipede probably didn't have any good intentions by taking her in as his disciple. You, Lung Ruoxue, don't regret it. Wu Gong roared in exasperation. Damn it. She was too hateful. I'll only regret it if I become your disciple. Lung Ruoxue said disdainfully. Grandpa Freak, let's go. Lung Ruoxue turned to the two of them. Ignoring Wu Gong's anger, Lung Qingtian and Freak nodded, and the three swaggered off the arena. Old Man and the others were already waiting at the entrance of the passageway. Haha, lass. You're still the best. That centipede was almost angered to death. Old Zhao said with a laugh. Alas. Little Snowy, you've completely offended Wu Gong this time. You have to be careful from now on. Lan Ming said worriedly and sighed heavily. Wu Gong was notorious for being petty, so that old thing would definitely find an opportunity to take revenge on Lung Ruoxue and the others. With his relationship with the Sun family, we can't get along peacefully with each other anyway. Moreover, he has been scheming against us for a long time, so I only collected some interest today. Lung Ruoxua said nonchalantly. Although the Sun family was currently an unshakable colossus to her, there were examples of ants biting an elephant to death, so there was nothing to be afraid of. Little Snowy, let's leave this place. I smell a stinky smell. Icy, who was lying on Lung Ruoxua's shoulder, wrinkled his little nose in displeasure. Okay. Everyone nodded, and the group left the competition venue and returned to their residence. Not long after they returned to their residence, some people came to visit. The people who came to visit entered the house openly in the name of sending an invitation. Wow, you are my idol. In the living room, Lon Lai's eyes lit up as he looked at Icy, who was napping on Lung Ruoxua's shoulder, his expression full of excitement. Icy rolled his eyes and said cockily, "Don't worship me. I'm a legend." Legend? That's even more cause to idolize you. Lon Lai said excitedly. This puppy was really too mighty and extraordinary. He liked him so much. When Lung Ruoxua heard the conversation between the human and beast, 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. Is this person really the future patriarch of the Lon family? Will the Lon family be at ease handing the family over to him? Ahem. Lon Ming couldn't help coughing twice to remind his nephew not to be too embarrassing. One sounds similar to Wu Gong in Chinese. Chapter 412. Luring the dog into the house 3. Your name is Little Icy, right? You can call me Little Lai Lai, Lon Lai said warmly. Oh. Icy answered indifferently and ignored him. Oh. Little Icy, do you hate me? Lon Lai said sadly. This little beast obviously ignored him. I want to sleep. Go play somewhere else. Icy couldn't take it anymore. He glanced at Lon Ming, his blue eyes saying, Is this person really your relative? Liar, Little Icy doesn't like to be disturbed while sleeping. Lon Ming reminded kindly. Oh, Little Icy, you continue your sleep. I won't talk anymore, Lon Lai said understandingly. He stopped talking but he stared at Icy intently. A moment later, Icy opened his eyes, his blue eyes full of displeasure. Little Lai Lai, don't stare at me. I will be shy. Lon Lai didn't expect Icy to be a shy puppy. He liked him even more now. Hee. Little Icy is so cute. Lon Lai's eyes shone with sincerity. Little Lai Lai, I'm going to bite you if you keep looking at me. Icy couldn't take it anymore and threatened. Little Icy, cute beasts can't threaten others, Lon Lai said aggrievedly. Boo-hoo, he just looked at him a few more times because he liked him too much. Why did he threaten him? I like to threaten others, Icy said nonchalantly. Little Icy, sleep obediently. As for you, we've already received the invitation. Thank you. If there's nothing else, you can go back first, Lung Ruoxua said bluntly. Hearing what Lung Ruoxua said, Icy closed his eyes obediently. Lon Lai was stunned. After returning to his senses, he blinked his eyes hard in disbelief. Did I hear it wrong? They're already chasing us away? This woman is too realistic. Lung Wudi and Sun Tung, who were also sitting in the living room, couldn't help grumbling. At this moment, there was another knock on the door outside the courtyard. Lon Ming stood up conscientiously and went to open the door. Soon he returned with a dark face. What's the matter? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously after seeing Lon Ming's ugly expression. The headquarters just informed us to move out immediately, Lon Ming said. Oh, then let's move. Lung Ruoxua said calmly. Little Snowy, if we leave this place, some people will have the chance to play dirty, Lon Ming said worriedly. Although private fights were not allowed in Carefree City, it would be a different story if the headquarters deliberately shielded them. Little Lon, we can't stay in the headquarters forever. Some people will also be anxious over time. At that time, they will always turn a blind eye. We can't do anything to them either, Lung Ruoxua said. Shuer is right. We can do whatever we want outside, Lung Qingtian said. He had always agreed with his granddaughter's opinion. Alas. All right then. Let's find an inn to stay at first. Why are you looking for an inn? Move to our Lon family's estate in this city, Lon Lai said warmly. This way he could have the most intimate contact with Little Icy. His idea was really too good. He was so proud. This isn't too convenient. Lung Ruoxue declined tactfully. Lan Lai's thoughts were written all over his face. But she was really afraid that Icy would be harassed. After all, Icy's temper wasn't very good. She really didn't know what Icy would do if he was provoked. It's indeed inconvenient, Lan Ming said helplessly. The puppy's temper was terrible. Uncle, what's so inconvenient? I'm the only one staying in the estate now. I don't believe that the Sun family will dare to come to our Lan family estate to kill you. Lan Lai said indignantly. Little Snowy, let's go live with little Lai Lai, said Icy, who kept his eyes closed. All right then. Lung Ruoxue said. She was even less afraid since little Icy wasn't afraid of being harassed. Hee, then come with me quickly, Lan Lai said happily. Then he stood up and prepared to lead the way. Lung Ruoxue and the others tidied up simply, and then moved in with Lan Lai. The Lan family estate was on the other side of Carefree City. The Lan family estate was located at the southernmost part of Carefree City, and occupied a very large area. The estate was surrounded by mountains and rivers, and the air was fresh. The estate was also shaded by trees and blooming with thousands of flowers. The exquisite pavilions and buildings were so beautiful that they made people sigh. There were rock mountains, and a clear river flowed through the entire estate. Silver-white fish swam freely in the river, appearing very carefree. Lung Ruoxue and the others were arranged to stay in Ningxi Garden. Ningxi Garden was said to be the best garden in the Lan family estate. The decorations and furnishings inside were luxurious. In Lung Ruoxue's room, Miss Lung, are you satisfied with this place? The steward of the estate said with a face full of pride. This Ningxi Garden was the best residence in the entire estate other than the main residence. In the past, only their Lan family's fifth young lady, Lan Ninger, had the chance to stay here. He didn't expect the young master to arrange for them to stay here today. Who were they? The steward was very curious. Very satisfied, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. The residence was beautiful, and the furnishings in the room were very exquisite. It was obvious that the owner cared a lot about this residence. But to her, it was fine as long as she lived comfortably. She didn't care about anything else, but seeing the steward's proud face and eager gaze, she could only say that she was satisfied. That's good. Miss Lung, have a good rest. I won't disturb you any further. The steward left after speaking. Swear this place isn't much. Freak murmured with some dissatisfaction after the steward left. The smell of incense in the room was too pungent, and he didn't like it at all. Make do with staying for a few days. We'll leave in a few days, Lung Ruoxue comforted. She had already discussed with Lan Ming, and planned to set off for Blue Cloud City in 3 days. You also need silver snow pills, Icy said aggrievedly while looking at Lung Ruoxue's expression with tears shining in his beautiful blue eyes. I didn't say anything. Let's go steal fish tonight. 2 drops of cold sweat rolled down Lung Ruoxue's forehead, and she hurriedly changed the topic. Can these beasts not be so smart? Okay. Icy immediately wiped his tears away, and answered happily when he heard that they were going to steal the fish at night. Little Icy, how did you know that the Lan family has silver snow fish? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Icy shook his little head and explained. This isn't a secret on the boundless heaven continent. But silver snowfish are very difficult to raise. Currently, no one has raised them in the entire continent except for the Lan family. Moreover, silver snowfish love the cold the most. Therefore, the colder the water used to raise them, the better. There happens to be a natural cold pool below this Lan family estate, so the silver snowfish can survive. Wouldn't there be a lot of people who want to steal fish? Lung Ruoxue guessed. With the value of the silver snowfish, wouldn't this fish be thought of all day long? There are definitely many people who want to steal them, but they have to have the guts to steal them. Moreover, silver snowfish themselves aren't so easy to steal. You'll know tonight. Icy kept her guessing. Oh, Lung Ruoxue answered softly. She was really curious after hearing Icy's words. Time passed slowly. In the dead of night, Lung Ruoxue summoned Rise and got him to cast an invisibility spell on her, Freak, and Icy before sneaking to the river in the yard. So cold. Lung Ruoxue felt the temperature drop significantly when she stood by the river, and she instantly understood what Icy meant earlier. Little Snowy, quickly store the fish away. Icy said anxiously. Hee, it wouldn't be so easy to steal silver snowfish because of the cold. Okay. With a thought, Lung Ruoxue put a third of the fish in the river into the bracelet. Suddenly, Icy pinched his throat and shouted, "Help! There are assassins!" When Lung Ruoxue heard Icy's cry, 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. She looked at Icy in surprise. Little Icy, what are you shouting for? Hee, Little Snowy, there will be a good show to watch. Icy smiled mysteriously and kept silent. Little Icy, you've learned bad things. Lung Ruoxue teased. Little Icy actually liked to keep her in suspense. But she knew very well that Little Icy had most likely discovered something, even though he refused to say it. Just as Lung Ruoxue thought, several figures quickly emerged from the other residences of the Lan family state after Little Icy finished shouting. Moreover, the sound of fighting sounded soon after. Little Snowy, let's go somewhere else to steal some more. Icy suggested after seeing that most of the fish in this section of the river had been stolen. Little Icy, isn't this enough? Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly. Was Little Icy really planning to wipe out all these silver snowfish? Would the Lan family cry to death then? Little Snowy, silver snowfish breed quickly, so don't worry. There will be many more in this Lan family estate soon. Icy said nonchalantly. Lung Ruoxue wiped the cold sweat off her forehead and said hesitantly, but it probably wasn't easy to raise them to become so big. Chapter 414. Framing 1. Little Snowy, you have to believe me. Moreover, these fish are already mature. Even if we don't eat them now, they will be eaten by the Lan family, Icy said understandingly. The silver snowfish could be used to concoct pills, but it would be best if the fish used to concoct the silver snow pills were not fully mature. This way, the effects of the concocted silver snow pill would be the best, and the mature silver snowfish were the most delicious. Moreover, if these fish weren't eaten for a long time, they would naturally die when the time came, so they must not be wasted. The Lan family eats them too? Lung Ruoxue was puzzled. Weren't silver snowfish very precious? Little Snowy, silver snowfish have a growth cycle, and their longest lifespan is only 10 years. So it would be a waste not to eat these fish after they mature. Moreover, even though silver snowfish aren't easy to raise, they are very good at producing offspring, so there's no need to worry, Icy explained. Alas, Little Snowy is too kind. Oh, then let's go. Lung Ruoxue nodded, and they changed places to continue stealing fish. In another courtyard, 2 groups of people were fighting, while Lung Ruoxue's group was busy stealing fish, and changing several places one after another. Little Icy, is this enough? Lung Ruoxue asked with slightly raised eyebrows. There were only about 100 fish left in the entire river now. She couldn't bear to steal any more. That's it. Alas. Little Snowy, you're too kind. Icy nodded reluctantly. Let's go see the commotion. Lung Ruoxue wiped the cold sweat off her forehead. Wow. Little Icy actually said I was kind. Okay. Let's cause trouble. Icy said with unconcealed excitement. Causing trouble was his favorite. Lung Ruoxue nodded speechlessly, and the 2 humans and 2 beasts walked toward the fight. In the main residence, the guards of the Lan family were fighting with several men in black. There were saber flashes and sword shadows all over in the huge courtyard, and colorful mystic power flew everywhere. After arriving, Lung Ruoxue and the others stood to the side and watched the battle. They were invisible anyway, so others couldn't see them. Little Snowy, the lowest level of the Lan family's guards is Mystic Monarch. Icy watched the battle, while taking on the task of explaining. Yes, as expected of one of the 3 great families. They have a strong foundation, Lung Ruoxue said while staring at the 2 parties in the fight. Those men in black aren't bad. They are generally mystic sovereigns. Little Snowy, guess who sent them? Icy asked with a naughty smile. It's either the Sun family or the Mystic Association headquarters, right? Lung Ruoxue guessed. They are all from the Sun family. Otherwise, why would the guards of the Lan family work so hard? Icy said with slight pride. Okay, Lung Ruoxua nodded. She had also heard that the Lan family and the Sun family had always been at odds. But from the looks of the fighting, it seemed to be even more serious than the rumors. Swear, are we just going to watch? Freak suddenly asked, his pitch-black and bright eyes shining with a mischievous light. Lung Ruoxua looked at Freak and asked with a smile. What do you want to do? Hee, look at me. Freak smiled evilly, then changed his voice and shouted at the top of his lungs. Someone come quickly. The Sun family is here to sell the silver snowfish. After hearing the shout, the leader of the men in black, who was fighting with the guards of the Lan family in midair, almost fell down. Damn it. Who's setting us up? The leader of the men in black cursed. They were obviously here to kill Lung Ruoxua and her group, but they were discovered by the Lan family's guards as soon as they arrived. Now they were even accused of stealing fish. He was so depressed. He hated the people who spoke out twice. How dare the Sun family come to our Lan family to steal fish? The leader of the guard said coldly with disdain. We're not here to steal fish. The leader of the men in black tried explaining. You're not here to steal fish. Then what are you doing here in the middle of the night? Don't tell me you're here for a walk. This isn't your Sun family grounds. You can't behave atrociously here. The guard leader didn't believe him at all. After all, there was nothing good about the Sun family in his heart. Just take it that we're here for a walk, the leader of the men in black said helplessly. Alas! Why was he so miserable? He knew that it wouldn't work no matter what he said. They wouldn't take them seriously. Coming to our Lan family's territory for a walk is equivalent to an attack. You will also die, the guard leader said without hesitation. We're both mystic sovereigns. You can't kill me, the leader of the men in black said with a sneer. That might not be the case, the guard leader said confidently. The two of them quickly began fighting again. Not far away, Lung Ruoxua broke out in a cold sweat after hearing Freak's shout. Hee, little Chun Chun, you're also naughty. Icy praised while watching the two parties fighting more and more intensely. I think they still aren't satisfied with fighting. Why don't we add fuel to the fire? Freak suggested. Oh, Icy's big blue eyes looked at Freak doubtfully. At this moment, Freak had already taken out the small and exquisite bamboo tube, aimed, and shot at the butt of one of the men in black. In just a few seconds, the man in black fell to the ground with a plop. The Lan family guard who was fighting him stood rooted to the ground, his face full of question marks. Haha, this is fun. Let me play with it. Icy took the bamboo tube from Freak and held it with one hoof while another hoof kept pressing the small button. A few minutes later, all the men in black collapsed except for the leader. The guards of the Lan family were all stunned at the same time. What happened? One of the guards squatted down and looked at the dead men in black, his face full of puzzlement. Now only the leaders of the two sides were fighting in the spacious yard. The leader of the men in black didn't realize that his subordinates had already met their makers. Chapter 415 Framing 2. Sir Lan, our silver snowfish have been stolen. The steward, who had gone to check on the silver snowfish, ran to the two of them while panting heavily. You're really here to steal fish. How shameless, the guard leader said angrily. I told you we were here for a walk, the leader of the men in black quibbled while cursing in his mind. Damn it. Who's framing us? Go to hell. The guard leader roared and used his strongest move. Just as he was about to attack with all his might, he found that his opponent had actually collapsed. The guard leader was stunned. He retracted his mystic power and looked around in bewilderment. He found that all the men in black had fallen to the ground at some point. When did the Sun family become so weak? The steward walked to the guard leader and asked curiously, Sir Lan, has your strength increased again? No, I didn't kill him, the guard leader said honestly. But he died in front of you, the steward said in puzzlement. The guard leader squatted down and carefully examined the body of the leader of the men in black, only to find that his body had already turned completely black. This was obviously a sign of poison. Could these people have come to steal fish with the determination to die? The Sun family is really too vicious. He committed suicide, the guard leader concluded after checking. He stole so many of our fish. I wouldn't have let him go even if he didn't commit suicide. The steward roared furiously. How many did they steal? The guard leader couldn't help asking when he saw the steward's angry appearance. The silver snowfish couldn't be stolen just because people wanted to, so it was already good enough that these people could steal a few in his mind. There are only slightly more than 100 left. Boo-hoo. The steward wanted to cry but had no tears. His fish. They were gone just like that. Boo-hoo. The Sun family was really too despicable. He had thought of many ways to raise those fish, and it wasn't easy to raise them so well, but now. Report to the patriarch. Tell him that the Sun family stole our silver snowfish, the guard leader said decisively. Okay, the steward said through gritted teeth. After hearing the conversation between the guard leader and the steward, Lung Ruoxia's group of 2 humans and 2 beasts quietly returned to Ningxi Garden. After entering the room, Lung Ruoxia, Freak, and the 2 beasts couldn't stop laughing. Haha, it's so funny, Lung Ruoxia said with a light smile. Yes. The Sun family will definitely be the scapegoat, Freak said happily. Hee hee, it's all thanks to me. Icy said cockily, his tail curling up proudly again. If he hadn't discovered those black-clothed people immediately, how could those fellows have been discovered by the Lan family's guards as soon as they sneaked into the Lan family estate? Hee hee. Yes. You're the smartest. Lung Ruoxia caressed Icy's little head and praised him. Swear, let us out. Lung Qingtian sent a voice transmission from the bracelet. They knew that Swear and the others were going to steal the silver snowfish, so they wanted to broaden their horizons. So they had all entered the space and seen everything that happened outside. Moreover, they had long been rolling on the ground laughing in the space. Okay. Without a thought, Lung Ruoxia moved her grandfather and the others out. Haha lass, the Sun family really suffered a double loss this time. They suffered such a tremendous loss. I think the Sun family will be so angry that they will vomit blood. Old Zhao chuckled, extremely happy. Hee hee, the Sun family was here to kill them, but they didn't even get to see the people they were going to kill, and even became fish thieves instead. Alas! How pitiful! Ruoxia, your poison is really powerful. Even mystic sovereigns couldn't resist it, Feng Jing said with amazement. The effects of the poison earlier really surprised him. That's because we launched a sneak attack. In a real battle, we wouldn't even be able to touch the corner of a mystic sovereign's clothes with our current strength. Lung Ruoxia said very sincerely. Her poison was quite powerful, but she had to have a chance to use it. Otherwise, the poison would just be a decoration. Hee hee, no matter what, your poison boosted our confidence. Old Zhao said excitedly. Yeah. Lung Ruoxia nodded. Alright, it's getting late. Everyone go back to your rooms and sleep. Lung Qingtian said. This wasn't their home after all. There were many experts hiding in the dark in the Lan family. Okay lass. Well, go back to our rooms. Old Zhao left Lung Ruoxia's room with everyone. Swear, let's rest too. Freak said. Okay. With a thought, Lung Ruoxia brought Freak and the 2 beasts into the bracelet. After entering the bracelet, they went straight to the pond where the silver snowfish were being raised. Beside the pond, all the beasts and empty were gathered, drooling and looking at the silver-white fish swimming happily in the water. Don't tell me you want to eat the fish. Lung Ruoxia shook her head helplessly. All the beasts and empty nodded in unison, their eyes revealing desire as they looked at Lung Ruoxia pitifully. Not now. Lung Ruoxia said without negotiation. She had so many beasts, so how could this small amount of fish be enough? Fortunately, in the space, these fish would grow faster, and their lifespans would increase, so she believed that they would be able to have fresh and delicious silver snowfish to eat soon. Lung Ruoxia looked at the beasts and empty, and continued to warn them. Alright, everyone stop looking. I've handed these fish to Qingju to manage. No one is allowed to eat them secretly, especially Empty. Swear, why me in particular? Empty said defiantly. Everyone had the same thoughts, but why did she only name him? Boo. Swear is too biased. Because it's you, Lung Ruoxia said. Then she ignored him and pulled Freak directly toward the purple bamboo house. Hee hee. Icy turned his head and covered his mouth to laugh. Chapter 416, Framing 3. Everyone stop looking. Go to sleep. Empty said gloomily and walked toward his residence. The next morning, after breakfast, Lung Ruoxue and the others were chatting in the garden when Lan Lai brought Lung Wudi over. Little Icy, I'm here to see you. I haven't seen you for a night. I missed you so much, Lan Lai said mushily. At the same time, everyone present was so shocked that they broke out in cold sweat. Beside him, Lung Wudi immediately jumped 2 meters away from him with a very strange expression on his face. His eyes stared at him with slight fear, and the words "I don't know him" were written on his face. Little Icy, I'm talking to you. Why are you ignoring me? Lan Lai said coquettishly. Icy shook his head and said very seriously, Don't think about me. I'm not interested in males. Everyone was speechless. Boo-hoo. Little Icy, you really hurt my heart. I missed you for the entire night, and didn't sleep well. Look, I have dark circles under my eyes, Lan Lai said pitifully. Tears flashed in his eyes but didn't fall. Go after a female. I'm a male, Icy said furiously. Damn it. The Qilin race didn't approve of boy love. But I only have you in my heart, Lan Lai said suggestively. Little Snowy, I can't take it anymore, Icy said pitifully to Lung Ruoxue. There's no need to hold back anymore. Lung Ruoxue suppressed her smile. Okay. Icy was angry, especially after seeing everyone turning their heads to snicker. So he opened his mouth and sneezed loudly, blowing Lan Lai out of Ningxi Garden. Of course, he was lenient compared to how he treated the Sun family. Everyone watched as Lan Lai flew out of the garden with a whoosh and disappeared. They broke out in cold sweat and thought in unison, Fortunately, we aren't the ones flying out. The atmosphere in the garden immediately fell to a minimum, and everyone fell silent. After a long while, Lan Lai limped in a very sorry state into Ningxi Garden with the help of a servant. Little Icy, you're too cruel, Lan Lai said aggrievedly with tears in his eyes. Unfortunately, Icy didn't even raise his eyes and started snoring on Lung Ruoxue's shoulder. Seeing Icy ignoring him, Lan Lai turned his head and said to everyone, You have no sympathy. But Lung Ruoxue and the others also turned their heads, and no one bothered with him. Uncle, your cute nephew is injured, Lan Lai called out directly, unwilling to give up. Then quickly return to your room to rest. Lan Ming braced himself and comforted him helplessly. Lan Ming's answer displeased Lan Lai, so he said to Lung Wudi, Little Didi, your best friend is injured. If you call me Little Didi again, I will hurt you even more, Lung Wudi said indifferently with a cold smile. Little Didi? Haha, that's a good name. Old Zhao started laughing hysterically after hearing this name. Lung Wudi threw a sharp glare at him. But not only did it not stop old Zhao from laughing, he even laughed more happily. Lung Wudi was depressed. These people were mentally abnormal, and couldn't be inferred with common sense. So he didn't bicker with this old man. Little Didi, can you bear to do it? At this moment, Lan Lai secretly looked at Lung Wudi and pretended to be pitiful. Yes, I can. You can try calling me that again if you don't believe me, Lung Wudi said with a spurious smile, his eyes very unfriendly. If you don't like it, I won't call you by that name. Lan Lai admitted defeat. He couldn't defeat this fellow. Alas, he was in a disadvantaged group. Lung Wudi nodded, very satisfied with Lan Lai's tact. Lan Lai found a seat and asked with concern. By the way, were you all right yesterday? We're fine. Thank you for your concern, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. It's really strange. Those people of Sun family actually committed suicide and stole many of our silver snowfish. Lan Lai continued, his handsome face full of doubts. They committed suicide to avoid punishment. It's very normal, Lung Ruoxue said. That's true. Lan Lai thought about it for a bit, and then stopped thinking about it. Lan Lai, we will be leaving the day after tomorrow. Thank you for your hospitality, Lung Ruoxue said politely. Okay. I'll go with you then. I haven't returned to Blue Cloud City for a long time. I can go home and take a look, Lan Lai said with a smile. Did I hear it wrong? Do you mean that you miss home? Lung Wudi's eyes widened in disbelief. What do you mean? Can't I miss home? Lan Lai shouted. It's unrealistic for you to miss home. Lung Wuti said matter-of-factly. He had known Lan Lai since they were young. He knew Lan Lai's character better than anyone else. This guy had never liked to stay at home since he was a child, and he wanted to run away from home whenever he had the chance. Now, a person who liked to run away from home suddenly said he wanted to go home. Wasn't this more unbelievable than red rain falling from the sky? Young master. Before Lan Lai could argue, the steward suddenly appeared in Ningxi Garden and whispered something in Lan Lai's ear. What is she doing here? Ask her to stay in Peace Garden. Lan Lai said impatiently and glared at Lung Wuti. This man is really a source of trouble. Fifth Miss refused. The steward said helplessly. The Lan family was deeply troubled by their fifth Miss' willfulness, but they were helpless. Alas! The fifth Miss was favored. She has to agree even if she doesn't want to. It's not up to her. Lan Lai said furiously. He couldn't do anything to these people, but couldn't he deal with the Lan family? The steward was in a dilemma. Tell her that she can either go to Peace Garden or scram. Tell her what I said. Lan Lai said angrily. All right then. The steward braced himself and went to find the fifth miss. Lung Wuti raised his eyebrows slightly and asked lightly, What? Is there trouble? Chapter 417 Framing for Nothing. A fly flew in. Lan Lai said nonchalantly, Seventh brother, how can you let others stay in my residence? Lan Ninger's voice sounded as soon as Lan Lai finished speaking. Then a red-dressed girl ran into the yard angrily and stood in front of Lan Lai to question him. Miss Lan Ning, are you questioning me? Lan Lai said with a smile that was not a smile. He might seem easygoing in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others, but in front of others, he was the fully deserving and unquestionable young master of the Lan family. I am Grandpa's most beloved granddaughter. How can you give my residence to others? Lan Ninger said very unpleasantly, but her tone subconsciously became much lower. After all, Lan Lai was the young master of the Lan family and the future patriarch. Even if their grandpa doted on her, she would probably suffer if she angered the heir of the Lan family. So she really didn't dare to be too presumptuous in front of Lan Lai. Your residence? How is it yours? Lan Lai said coldly without even looking up. Everyone knows that I live in Ningxi Garden as long as I come here, Lan Ninger said loudly. She looked at the people in the courtyard from the corner of her eyes. Apart from Big Brother Lung, all of them are ugly. It was too infuriating. Lan Lai actually let these ugly people stay in her Ningxi Garden. She was so angry. So what? They are my friends. They can stay wherever I allow them to stay. You have no right to ask, Lan Lai said without giving her face. You. Lan Lai, how dare you? I'm Grandpa's most beloved granddaughter. I'm going to tell Grandpa. Lan Ninger roared furiously. Go ahead. I want to see how Grandpa will react when he finds out that his most beloved granddaughter actually yelled at the heir he chose. Don't think that just because Grandpa dotes on you that you can look down on everyone. Let me tell you. I am the young master of the Lan family. What crime will you be charged with if news of you disrespecting the young master reaches the elders? Lan Lai said very curiously. You wait. Lan Ninger glared fiercely at Lan Lai, turned around, and walked away angrily. It really was a troublesome fly. Lung Wuti said lightly after Lan Ninger left. You two bad fellows actually call the #1 beauty of the boundless heaven continent a fly. If her admirers know, just their saliva will drown you too. Lan Ming couldn't help teasing. Who dares? The two of them said in unison. Then they looked at each other and smiled tacitly. Everything was unspoken. Alas! Men are trouble. Lung Ruoxue looked at Freak and suddenly sighed with emotion. Schwer. Freak looked at Lung Ruoxue aggrievedly. How could Schwer say that about him? He was cruel and merciless to all women except Schwer. Well, he must have been implicated by these fellows. He looked at Lan Ming and the others. These three fellows now had the potential to be the source of trouble. Little Snowy. Lan Ming also looked at Lung Ruoxue aggrievedly, thinking, the real trouble is you too. Why are you maligning me? He's the one attracting the flies and mosquitoes. I'm a pure and innocent child. Lon Lai pointed at Lung Wudi and plucked himself clean without any sense of loyalty. So young Master Lung stinks? No wonder you attract flies and mosquitoes. Lung Ruoxue teased with a smile. Lung Wudi's face darkened, and he was at a loss for words. He really couldn't understand how a handsome and talented man like him became stinky in Lung Ruoxue's eyes. Moreover, it wasn't his fault that he attracted flies and mosquitoes. Ooh. He was so wronged. Yes, he stank a long time ago. Lon Lai added oil to the fire fearlessly. Are you courting death? Lung Wudi's anger rose. He stood up and attacked Lon Lai. Lung Wudi is so angry that he flew into a rage. He's going to kill someone. Help. Lon Lai dodged Lung Wudi's attack while shouting loudly, and began playing hide-and-seek with him. Just like that, the two of them engaged in a chase and battle in the garden. Lung Ruoxue and the others looked helplessly at Lon Lai and Lung Wudi chasing and fighting like children. They felt that they should return to their rooms, and gave the entire garden to them. After chasing for a long time, the two of them were tired and lay on the grass. But when they looked up, they found that everyone was gone, and only the two of them were left in the huge garden. When did they leave? My little Icy. Lon Lai cried exaggeratedly. Don't cry like a woman. That's not your little Icy, Lung Wudi said honestly. He was really helpless about his good friend's daydreaming. Boo-hoo, Lon Lai cried even more sadly. Damn little Didi is rubbing salt on my wounds. Cry slowly. I'm going to my room. Lung Wudi stood up, dusted himself off, and left Ningxi Garden. After a while, Lon Lai saw that no one was really paying attention to him. So he stood up, dusted off his clothes and left. 2 days passed quickly. For the past 2 days, Lung Ruoxue and the others told Lan Ming that they wanted to cultivate and almost didn't leave their rooms. In fact, they did this to avoid conflict with certain Lan family members. Moreover, they had been staying in Lung Ruoxue's bracelet for the past 2 days. In Lung Ruoxue's room. Haha. Schwer, we're leaving the Lan family estate today, Lung Qingtian said happily. For the past 2 days, Lan Ninger had always been looking for trouble with them. Fortunately, they were in seclusion and didn't see anyone, so Lan Ninger was stopped by Lan Ming. Grandpa, let's pack up and set off, Lung Ruoxue said. She had already told Lan Ming that she planned to leave early today, so they decided to set off before dawn. Lass, we've already packed up. Actually, there's nothing much to pack, old Zao said. Their things were all in Lass' space, and there was almost nothing outside. Chapter 418. Leaving without saying goodbye 1. Lung Ruoxue looked around at everyone and said, Then let's go. Okay. Everyone nodded and exited the room. When they arrived at the garden, Lan Ming was already waiting for them. Lan Ming welcomed Lung Ruoxue and the others. Shall we go? Okay, let's go. Lung Ruoxue nodded. After Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, Lan Ming brought them out of the Lan family estate and headed for Blue Cloud City. Half a month later, Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived at Sheep City. Sheep City was a medium-sized city on the Boundless Heaven continent, and a must-pass stop on the way to Blue Cloud City. At the same time, it was also one of the Lan family's subordinate cities. So Sheep City could be said to be relatively bustling. After entering Sheep City, Lung Ruoxue and the others found that the pedestrians on the streets were looking at them with pleasant surprise as if they had seen treasure on the road. Little Lan Lan, have you noticed that the gazes of the pedestrians are a little strange? Lung Ruoxue asked doubtfully. Calm down. I guess they've never seen people as ugly as you. Lan Ming guessed as a drop of cold sweat dripped down his forehead. Possibly. Old Zao nodded in agreement. Although they had taken less traveled roads along the way, none of the people they encountered were too ugly. Little Snowy, let's stay here for the night. Lan Ming led everyone to the door of an inn. We can stay anywhere, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. What Lan Ming said might be a factor, but she still felt that something was amiss. Seeing no one having any objections, Lan Ming led them directly into an inn. After booking the rooms, they went to their rooms to rest. After entering her room, Lung Ruoxue brought Freak directly into the bracelet. In the bracelet, Little Snowy, where are we? Icy, who had been sleeping in the bracelet after they got on the road, asked curiously. We're at Sheep City, Lung Ruoxue said. Icy tilted his little head and thought for a bit. Oh, at your current speed, it will take at least half a month to reach Blue Cloud City. Yes, there's no hurry. The medicinal herb exchange meeting will begin in 20 days. Lung Ruoxue caressed the fur on Binky's head and smiled lightly. Little Snowy, I'll go out when we reach Blue Cloud City, Icy said. He really didn't like to travel. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Qingju appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue. Big sister, someone is knocking on the door outside. I'll go out and take a look. With a thought, Lung Ruoxue left the bracelet. After returning to her room, Lung Ruoxue opened the door and found a few uninvited guests standing outside. It's you, Lung Ruoxue said calmly. She sighed softly in her heart. Alas! Why did they catch up? What? Don't you want to see us? Lan Lai said angrily. These bad people actually left quietly without saying goodbye while he was still sleeping. Ooh. He was abandoned by little Icy. I don't want to. Lung Ruoxue said honestly. She felt a headache looking at the three handsome men with all sorts of characteristics in front of her. It was enough to have Lan Ming as a source of trouble. If there were 3 more of them, then it would definitely be a disaster. Lung Ruoxue's words made 2 drops of cold sweat drip down each of their foreheads. You're really honest, Lung Wudi said gloomily. Alas! After living for more than 20 years, he only knew today that he was actually so unpopular. Ooh. He, who was so strong-hearted, was also sad. Thank you for the compliment, Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. I'm here to challenge your man, Sun Tung said coolly, implying that he was different from them. Challenge? If you have patience, wait for him to advance to Mystic Monarch. He's not free now, Lung Ruoxue said coldly. Although Sun Tung was different from those annoying Sun family members, she still didn't want to have any contact with the Sun family. I can control my cultivation level to elementary mystic, Sun Tung said impatiently. No, you are a Mystic Monarch after all. What if you can't afford to lose and use your Mystic Monarch strength to deal with my man? Lung Ruoxue obviously didn't believe him. I'm not that shameless, okay? Sun Tung explained with a black face. I'm sorry. I heard that the Sun family's reputation has always been poor, so I don't believe you. Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly, not taking Sun Tung's anger seriously at all. You. Sun Tung was so angry that he couldn't speak. Haha. Lan Lai laughed happily upon seeing Sun Tung deflated. Lung Ruoxue was still the best. She could anger someone to death. He was much more balanced now. Laugh. Laugh to death. Sun Tung roared furiously. Laugh slowly. Please leave after you're done laughing. I won't see you out. Lung Ruoxue closed the door and locked the 3 of them outside. The 3 of them looked at the closed door and were stunned. Finally, they looked at each other in puzzlement. When did they offend Lung Ruoxue? Why were they so unpopular? It must be because of you. The Sun family wanted to kill her, so we were implicated by you. Lan Lai looked at Sun Tung and pushed the blame onto him. What does that have to do with me? The Sun family is the Sun family, and I am me. Sun Tung was aggrieved. He just wanted to spar with Yi Chen. Why was it so difficult? Very possible. Lung Wudi also looked at Sun Tung thoughtfully, his mind racing. It might not be me. It might be you. I don't think Lung Ruoxue gave you any face. Sun Tung rolled his eyes at Lung Wudi. Me? How is that possible? I didn't offend her. Lung Wudi didn't think that they were unwelcome because of him. Just like this, the 3 handsome men, who made all the women on the boundless heaven continent crazy, stood at the door of Lung Ruoxue's room as if no one was around and started blaming each other. Chapter 419. Leaving without saying goodbye to. The next morning, Lung Ruoxue and Freak opened the door of the room, and were about to leave when they found that the door was blocked. Why are you sleeping here? Dumbfounded, Lung Ruoxue kicked the 3 people blocking her room. Why did we fall asleep? Lan Lai rubbed his eyes and yawned. You're blocking the way, Lung Ruoxue said calmly. Who knew how you fell asleep? Are we leaving? Lan Lai hurriedly got up from the ground. He also kicked the other two people a few times while he was at it. He kept muttering in his head, "How can these two people sleep like dead pigs?" He was awake, but these two people were still asleep. Leng Wudi opened his eyes and asked, "What's the matter?" Sun Ting also opened his slightly dazed eyes and asked foolishly, why is the sky bright?" "It's already the next day, 3 young masters," Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. It seemed like these two people were really muddle-headed from sleeping. Alas! Weren't they afraid of encountering bad people? They actually slept so soundly. "Oh, let's go then." Leng Wudi finally woke up completely. Leng Ruoxue looked at Freak helplessly, and then pulled Freak straight to the dining hall. In the dining hall, Leng Qingtian and the others had already ordered breakfast and were sitting in chairs, waiting for them. "Grandpa." Leng Ruoxue and Freak found a seat and sat down, their faces still full of helplessness. What happened? Leng Qingtian couldn't help asking when he saw his granddaughter's unnatural expression. 3 uninvited guests. Leng Ruoxue sighed and explained. As they spoke, the 3 entered the dining hall and sat at the table closest to Leng Ruoxue's group. "Uncle, you're too much. How could you abandon me?" Lan Lai complained aggrievedly with tears in his eyes after seeing Lan Ming. "Didn't you already find us?" Lan Ming said helplessly. "Yes. Fortunately, I'm smart and posted your portraits on notice boards for a reward. Otherwise you would have escaped again," Lan Lai said proudly. "No wonder people on the streets looked at us as though they saw money after we entered the city. So it was all your fault." Leng Ruoxue said in realization. "Hee, but you're really slow. We've been here for a few days," Lan Lai complained. This sheep city was a necessary stop on the way to Blue Cloud City, so they had decided to wait here. "We're not in a hurry. Why would we travel so quickly? Isn't it better to admire the beautiful scenery of the boundless heaven continent along the way?" Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly. In fact, they had spent more time walking less traveled roads in the past half a month. But unfortunately, they didn't encounter a group of bandits again. How can the scenery on the road compare to Blue Cloud City? Let's go to Blue Cloud City to enjoy the beautiful scenery quickly. Lan Lai said anxiously. "Young Master Lan, you can leave first if you're in a hurry. You don't have to be with us," Leng Ruoxue suggested. "No hurry. I'm not in a hurry," Lan Lai said quickly. Anyway, he had made up his mind that he would stick to them no matter what Leng Ruoxue said. "Ooh, little Icy, I'm suffering so much for you. Then let's go together. But you have to listen to me on the way," Leng Ruoxue said. Since she couldn't shake them off, they should go together, lest they caused any trouble. She didn't want to become famous to the point where everyone knew her. Yes, yes. Lan Lai nodded vigorously like a puppy. After breakfast, everyone was about to set off, but another uninvited guest arrived. It was the 5th daughter of the Lan family, Lan Ninger. Leng Ruoxue looked at Lan Ninger, whom she had only met once. She was dressed in bright red, had beautiful facial features, skin as fair as snow, and a noble temperament that was beyond reach. Apart from her arrogant and overbearing character that was not very likable, this girl was indeed a rare beauty. At the entrance of the inn, Lan Ninger ignored everyone and ran straight for Leng Wudi. "Big brother Leng, what a coincidence. Are you leaving? Let's go together," Lan Ninger said very warmly, the expression on her face of a shy girl in love. "We're taking our time traveling. As a noble young lady, you're not suitable to travel with us." Leng Wudi frowned and declined politely. He didn't want to bring such a delicate beauty along with him. In his opinion, women were troublesome. "It's okay. I don't mind. Who asked us to run into each other so coincidentally?" Lan Ninger said with a sweet smile on her face. "What a coincidence," Lan Lai said with a spurious smile. Coincidence? Who would believe it? They weren't 3-year-old children. Were they so easy to fool? "7th brother, you're here too," Lan Ninger said in surprise, pretending to have just seen Lan Lai. "I've been here all along. Don't you know?" Lan Lai said angrily. "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see 7th brother," Lan Ninger said guiltily. "That's my honor," Lan Lai said lightly. Who wanted to be seen by her? Whoever caught her eye would be unlucky. And that unlucky person now was obviously Leng Wudi. "Let's go." Lung Ruoxue didn't want to see them bicker. After speaking, everyone left the inn tacitly and walked out of the city. Lan Lai and the other two hurriedly followed the group. Don't tell me you're so poor that you don't even have flying beasts? Why are you walking? Lan Ning'er couldn't help complaining after walking behind Lung Ruoxue and the others for a while. It's healthier to walk. If you can't walk anymore, Miss Lan, please go ahead. Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Do you know who I am? How dare you talk to me like this? Lan Ning'er roared furiously. Miss Lan, I don't think we requested for you to travel with us. You can leave first if you can't take it anymore. But if you insist on following us, you have to listen to me. I'm not interested in who you are, Lung Ruoxue said rudely. She hated people who bullied others with their power the most. She would blacklist both men and women who did so. And this young lady from the Lan family had obviously entered her blacklist. Chapter 420. Leaving without saying goodbye 3. You? How dare you treat me like this? Our Lan family won't let you go. Lan Ning'er threatened, her beautiful face slightly distorted from anger. Are you threatening me? Lung Ruoxue said with a spurious smile, her watery eyes releasing a fierce and terrifying cold light. I am the most favored fifth young lady of the Lan family. Lan Ning'er stammered, frightened by the coldness in Lung Ruoxue's eyes. So what? Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Watch her. Don't let her get in my way. Lung Ruoxue turned her gaze to Lan Lai and warned with slight displeasure. Haha. I guarantee you'll be fine if you dare to teach her a lesson. Lan Lai gloated. Oh, isn't she your sister? Lung Ruoxue was at a loss for words. What kind of brother was this? She wasn't born out of my mother's womb. I don't recognize her. In Lan Lai's heart, only those of the same father and mother would be recognized by him. The others could only be considered relatives. If the relatives respected him, perhaps he would still give them a good face. But for someone as arrogant as Lan Ning'er, forget it. He really couldn't afford such a sister. Seventh brother. You. Lan Ning'er was very aggrieved. She looked at Lan Lai with tears in her beautiful eyes. Then she pounced on Lung Wudi, who was beside Lan Lai, trying to seek comfort. But Lung Wudi didn't want this chance to console the beauty at all. He dodged lightly and left this rare opportunity for the cold ground. Pfft! Lan Lai looked at the stunning beauty, who fell to the ground and laughed hysterically. Big brother Lung, how could you? Boo-hoo. Lan Ning'er didn't care about being in a sorry state, and directly lay on the ground and sobbed. Miss, quickly get up. The ground is cold. The maidservant beside Lan Ning'er stepped forward to help Lan Ning'er up, but Lan Ning'er refused to get up no matter what. Young Master Lung, please persuade our young lady. She listens to you the most. The maidservant had no choice but to seek Lung Wudi's help with tears in her eyes. Unfortunately, Lung Wudi ignored her and pretended not to hear her. Since she likes the ground so much, just stay there. I'll tell Grandpa later that his most beloved granddaughter has fallen in love with a piece of land. In addition, I'll also suggest to Grandpa to marry her to this piece of land. Lan Lai said seriously. Did she really think they were idiots to play tricks in front of them? Which one of them hadn't gone through thousands of tests and difficulties to become young masters? If they were easily fooled by a woman's little trick, then they wouldn't have to work as young masters in the future. Haha. Little Lai Lai, that's a good idea. Old Zhao laughed hysterically after hearing what Lan Lai said. Hee hee, this kid from the Lan family is quite interesting and ruthless with his words. I like it. Lan Lai, how dare you? After hearing Lan Lai's words, Lan Ning'er couldn't pretend anymore and hurriedly got up from the ground. It was very embarrassing to fall to the ground, but it was better than letting Lan Lai go back and spout nonsense. Why wouldn't I dare? Little Snowy, you've seen it. How can such a woman be qualified to be my sister? Lan Lai asked nonchalantly. Let's continue. Lung Ruoxue suppressed her smile and didn't answer his question. But she felt that this Lan Lai was a little interesting. Perhaps she didn't have to be so against him. Okay. Everyone nodded and continued walking forward. Lan Ning'er called out Big Brother Lung several times, but there was no response. She thickened her skin and followed. Lass, let's camp here tonight. Old Zao suggested after walking for nearly a day. Okay. Lung Ruashua nodded. Everyone stopped and set up the tents together before preparing dinner. Lan Ninger sat down on a rock to rest. I want this tent. After resting enough, Lan Ninger looked around at each tent and finally chose the one that satisfied her the most. She planned to stay in it tonight. I'm sorry, Miss Lan. If you want to stay in a tent, you can set up your own. Lung Ruashua said directly without even looking at her. What do you mean? You want me to do this kind of rough work myself? Lan Ninger roared in disbelief, her beautiful eyes widening. Miss Lan, haven't you heard that only by doing things yourself would you have ample food and clothing? Not only do you have to set up your own tent, but you also have to make your own food, Lung Ruashua reminded. Why you? Say it again? Lan Ninger shouted, so angry that her face turned a little green. How was this possible? It shouldn't be like this. This was completely different from what she imagined. She originally thought that with her status, these people would definitely treat her as an esteemed guest and take good care of her. So she had only brought one maidservant with her and sent all the guards away. But she didn't expect to receive such treatment. She was the most favored fifth young lady of the Lan family. How could she be allowed to do crude work by these servants? She couldn't understand no matter what. I said you have to do everything yourself. If you can't endure hardship, you can leave early, Lung Ruashua said coldly. You. Lan Ninger pointed at Lung Ruashua for a long time, but didn't say a complete sentence. Obviously, she was already extremely angry. Big brother Lung, this ugly monster is bullying me. Lan Ninger turned her head to Lung Wudi, seeking protection. Set up the tent quickly if you don't want to sleep outdoors. Lung Wudi said lightly. He really couldn't be bothered with this woman if not for the good relationship between the Lung family and the Lan family. Wow, it smells so good! Lan Lai exclaimed. He had already picked up a piece of grilled meat and was eating it heartily. Hee hee, the early bird gets the worm. Birds that don't work don't have worms to eat, and birds that don't work have nowhere to sleep. Lan Lai gloated as he ate. Cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruaksha's forehead as she looked at Lan Lai's excitement. How much do you hate this relative? How can you be so happy? Everyone surrounded the fire and happily ate the delicious grilled meat. But Lan Ninger and her servant were not so comfortable. Chapter 421. Leaving without saying goodbye for. Miss, what should we do? Lan Ninger's maidservant asked helplessly. Ooh, I'm so hungry. Set up a tent. Is there still a need to ask? Lan Ninger roared furiously. But, the maidservant stammered. But what? Lan Ninger said impatiently. She was so angry now. We didn't prepare a tent, the maidservant whispered fearfully. The young lady never slept outdoors when she went out, so they had no habit of preparing a tent at all. Boo. I'm dead meat this time. What did you say? Lan Ninger asked in disbelief, thinking she heard it wrong. I said, we didn't bring a tent, the maidservant whispered. Then where are we going to sleep tonight? Lan Ninger was dumbfounded. She even forgot to be angry. The only thing she remembered now was that she couldn't sleep outside. She was the most favored fifth young lady of the Lan family, not to mention that Big Brother Lung was still here. Yes, there's Big Brother Lung. He definitely can't bear to leave a delicate beauty like me without a place to sleep. Thinking of this, she suddenly became happy, and she was even a little glad that she didn't bring a tent. Otherwise, why would she have an excuse to have intimate contact with Big Brother Lung? She had already begun to fantasize. After eating, Lung Ruashua and the others returned to their tents to sleep. Only Lan Lai, Lung Wudi and Sun Ting were keeping night watch. Big Brother Lung. Lan Ninger walked to Lung Wudi when she saw that almost everyone had left. She called out softly, her beautiful eyes twinkling seductively. What's the matter? Lung Wudi raised his straight eyebrows and pretended to be stupid. In fact, they all knew what Lan Ninger was up to. They were just pretending to be stupid. Big Brother Lung, I came out in a hurry and didn't bring a tent. Can you? Lan Ninger deliberately said half of what she wanted to say. You want to borrow a tent? Lung Wudi asked lightly. If it's convenient, we can. Lan Ninger was shy and couldn't say it. In fact, what she wanted to say was, we can squeeze in together. Okay, go and stay inside. I want to keep watch tonight. Lung Wudi said generously. If big men like them let a woman sleep outdoors, who knows how Lan Ninger would complain about them after she returned to the Lan family. Thank you, Big Brother Lung. Lan Ninger's beautiful face was full of gratitude, but she was a little disappointed in her heart. Alas, why doesn't Big Brother Lung understand? Haven't I given enough hints? After thanking him, Lan Ninger obediently led her maidservant into Lung Wudi's tent. You're such a good person, Lan Lai muttered with some dissatisfaction. Do you want her to go back and complain? Fine, but Lung Ruoxue and the others probably won't have it easy. Lung Wudi said. You're right. Lan Lai snorted coldly and said gloomily, then fell silent. The next morning, after waking up, Lung Ruoxue and the others had a simple breakfast and continued on their way. Half a month later, at noon, Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived at Blue Cloud City. Standing outside the city gate of Blue Cloud City and looking at the tall and mighty city wall, Lung Ruoxue and the others were also abnormally excited. This was one of the largest cities on the boundless heaven continent. They could already feel the majestic and extraordinary might of Blue Cloud City outside the city gate. As expected of Blue Cloud City, Old Zao sighed. Of course. This is our Lan family's main city, Lan Lai said proudly. Our Lung family's proud cold city isn't bad either. Lung Wudi said, unwilling to be outdone. Lung Ruoxue looked at Sun Tung, who didn't say anything and said lightly, the Sun family's Sunzhou city is probably similar to Blue Cloud City. Why don't you take a look when you have the chance? Sun Tung said coolly, his face expressionless from start to finish. Don't worry. We will go, Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Sunzhou City, we will go sooner or later, and, you bumpkins are finally here. At this moment, a disdainful mocking voice sounded from the city gate. The owner of the voice, Lan Ninger, also appeared. Not only that, but a large group of people followed behind her. Lung Ruoxue looked at Lan Ninger, whose tail was about to curl into the sky, and smiled without saying a word. On the second day of their journey, Lan Ninger had abandoned them when they passed through Burn City, and returned to the Lan family alone with her maidservant. As for the cause, of course, it was because of the tent. When they passed through Burn City, Lung Ruoxue knew that she didn't have a tent, so she had asked her to buy one. But she refused no matter what. Later, Lung Ruoxue told her clearly that since she refused to buy one herself, no one would lend her a tent the next time she slept in the wilderness. So she ran away in a fit of anger. There were many shops belonging to the Lan family in Burn City. Lan Ninger must have found someone from one of the shops to return to Blue Cloud City ahead of time. You inexperienced bumpkins, didn't you hear me talking to you? Lan Ninger was instantly angry when she saw that no one was paying attention to her. This was the Lan family's territory. These ugly monsters shouldn't even think about having a good life since they were here. Little sister Ninger, are they the people you mentioned? Asked a woman in blue beside Lan Ninger. Yes, it's them. Lan Ninger gritted her teeth in hatred. How dare you bully our Lan family? The blue-clothed woman rebuked indignantly. Without a saying word, Lung Ruoxue turned to look at Lan Lai. Lan Feier, how dare you be rude to my friend? Lan Lai roared furiously. Damn it. The mocking expression on Lung Ruoxue's face made him want to find a hole to burrow into. It was too embarrassing. Seventh brother, they bullied little sister Ninger. As an elder brother, not only did you not vent your sister's anger for her, but you even sided with outsiders. Grandpa won't let you off if he finds out. Lan Feier accused, as if Lan Lai had really committed a big mistake. Chapter 422. Setting up a stall and poaching in the corner 1. Lan Feier, don't use that old man to suppress me, nor do you have to try so hard to please Lan Ninger. She will never agree to share a husband with you. Lan Lai said with slight mockery, exposing Lan Feier's thoughts unceremoniously. It was already an open secret in the Lan family that Lan Feier liked a certain someone. only she thought she had concealed it very well. Lan Fei, is what he said true? Lan Ninger questioned with raging jealousy. Little sister Ninger, don't listen to his nonsense. Can't you tell that he wants to sow discord between us? Lan Fei quickly comforted. She hated Lan Lai to the core. After hearing Lan Fei's words, Lan Ninger was still a little skeptical. But after some thought, she felt that what Lan Fei said made sense. Young Master Lan, your status as the young master isn't much either. Looks like anyone can order you around. Lung Ruoxue said lightly. That's right. Brat Lan, you are too vexed as the young master. I only realized today that the Lan family doesn't take you seriously. Old Zhao also sowed discord, his face full of pity. Lan Lai snorted softly and said coldly, Humph. Isn't that because some dogs like to rely on others and always use an old man to suppress me? Damn it. Who did you say is a dog? Lan Ninger roared furiously. I'm talking about dogs. Lan Lai smiled gently. Then he turned to look at Lung Ruoxue and the others. Ignore these dogs. Let's enter the city. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded, completely ignoring Lan Ninger and her group. Wait. They can't enter the city. Lan Ninger pointed at Lung Ruoxue and the others, her face totally pleased with herself. What did you say? Lan Lai narrowed his eyes. I said they can't enter the city, Lan Ninger said proudly. Blue Cloud City was her territory. She didn't believe that these ugly monsters could enter if she didn't allow it. I haven't been home for a long time. I only found out today that you, Lan Ninger, are in charge of Blue Cloud City. Lan Lai was so angry that he laughed mockingly. This is Grandpa's idea. Lan Ninger took out her trump card and brought up the patriarch. She didn't believe that Lan Lai would still dare to stubbornly protect these people. Is that so? Lan Lai's expression was very calm. In fact, he was so angry in his heart. Damn old man, just you wait. He didn't think that Lan Ninger would lie to him because she didn't have the guts to fake his order. Moreover, this was indeed something that the damn old man would do because that old man had always liked to drag him down and cause trouble for him. You can go back and ask Grandpa if you don't believe me, Lan Ninger said confidently. She wanted Lan Lai to know who was the most favored in the Lan family today. Of course I will ask. But they have to enter the city with me, Lan Lai said without any room for negotiation. Originally, his status wasn't high in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others. Now, if he embarrassed himself again at the door of his house, he wouldn't have the face to hang around with them in the future. How dare you disobey Grandpa's orders? Lan Ninger questioned with a very smug expression. Is this the first time? Lan Lai asked with a smile. He had disobeyed the old man's orders countless times since he was young, but he had never seen the old man do anything to him. You will regret it. Grandpa will definitely not let you go this time. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and go. The patriarch has ordered us not to let these people enter the city, Lan Ninger said loudly. But after waiting for a long time, Lan Ninger didn't see any reaction from the people behind her. Do you also want to disobey orders? Lan Ninger said, very displeased, feeling that her authority had been challenged. Fifth miss, we don't dare to hurt young master, the leader of the guard said helplessly. Ooh, patriarch. Why did you do this to us? We didn't do anything wrong. Why did you implicate us in your fight with young master? He won't be the young master soon. What are you afraid of? Lan Ninger roared in exasperation. But he is still the young master now. We will be punished if we accidentally hurt young master, the leader of the guard said with a troubled face. We're only here to keep up appearances for fifth miss, not to be her thugs. Lan Ninger didn't know that she couldn't command them at all. Lan Lai, no wonder some people dare to shout at you. So your young master position is about to be lost. Lung Ruoxue said sympathetically after watching the commotion for a long time. But what do these guards mean? Their reactions are really interesting. I don't care about the young master position. Whoever wants it can take it, Lan Lai said nonchalantly. If I hadn't lost the bet with that damn old man, I wouldn't have become this young master at all. Boo. Alas. From the looks of it, we can't enter Blue Cloud City today, Lung Ruoxue said with a light sigh, but there was no anger on her face at all. Schwer, let's camp at the city gate since we can't enter. Lung Qingtian said nonchalantly, his composure unbelievable. Yes, Schwer, I'm a little hungry, Freak said pitifully, his bright star eyes shining like obsidian. Then what are we waiting for? Let's hurry up. Lung Ruoxua ordered, and everyone hurriedly set up their tents. The corner of Lan Ming's mouth twitched a little. He watched Lung Ruoxua and the others quickly set up the tents, then start a fire and take out a pile of food. Several black lines couldn't help rolling down his forehead. Are you preparing to camp already? Lan Ming was really impressed by their casualness. But what he didn't understand was what his father was doing. Lan Lai and the others were already mentally prepared, so they were relatively calm. Alas! Lung Ruoxua even dared to sleep on the arena, so what was so strange about camping outside Blue Cloud City? The Lan sisters and the Lan family guards were a little dumbfounded, because they didn't know the temperament of Lung Ruoxua and the others. What's going on? Chapter 423, Setting Up a Stall and Poaching in the Corner 1. Who allowed you to camp here? Lan Ninger roared with displeasure after recovering from her momentary daze. What? Are you not allowing us to enter the city or camp outside the city? Lung Ruoxua said with a light smile. Of course not. Hurry up and scram back to Windless City. Blue Cloud City isn't a place where you ugly monsters can come. Lan Ninger said cockily. As far as I know, this Blue Cloud City belongs to your Lan family, but it doesn't seem to be the case outside the city. Lung Ruoxua said with a smile, neither annoyed nor angry. But that doesn't mean you're allowed to camp here. Lan Ninger shouted angrily. She didn't know if the area outside of the city belonged to the Lan family, but she wouldn't allow these ugly monsters to stay here to be an eyesore. The Lan family's fifth young lady is really overbearing. It's fine if you don't allow guests to enter the city, but we can't even stay outside the city. Alas! Grandpa, why don't we leave? The Lan family is a colossus, and small characters like us can't afford to offend them. Lung Ruoxua complained with a long face, singing her tune well. Schwer, don't be scared. We definitely can't bow down to evil forces. Freak hugged Lung Ruoxua tenderly and comforted her. But we really can't afford to offend the Lan family. Lung Ruoxua leaned in Freak's arms, her face full of worry. My dear granddaughter. We're not afraid. Justice is in the hearts of people. We'll camp outside the city today. I want to see if the Lan family will really chase us away. Moreover, I want everyone who enters the city to see that this is how the Lan family treats guests. We can't enter the city gate even though we have an invitation. Lung Qingtian said calmly, also neither annoyed nor angry. Lass, isn't it just a medicinal herb exchange meeting? We have so many good herbs. It doesn't matter if we enter the city or not. Old Zao echoed, implying that they could just exchange outside the city. It was the same. Yes. You have a point. Lung Ruoxua nodded in agreement. Then she took out a signboard from the bracelet and placed it on the road to the city. On the signboard were the words Medicinal Herb Exchange. Then she let Charm and the other beasts out as part-timer sales promoters. No part-time exchange promoters. Moreover, Lung Ruoxua especially took out a few recliners, a huge parasol, and various drinks and snacks from the bracelet for them to enjoy because she was afraid that they would be tired. Old Zao looked at the scene in front of him and rubbed his eyes. He finally confirmed that it was real. Her speed is really godlike. Impressive. Impressive. In fact, Lung Ruoxua had already decided to do so before Old Zao said those words. Therefore, she had sent a voice transmission to Empty and got him to arrange everything earlier. Although she didn't know the true intentions of the Lan family's patriarch, she would definitely let these clowns of the Lan family know the consequences of provoking her. This time, everyone, including Lan Ming, was dumbfounded again. Lung Ruoxua's group was already used to it. Are they poaching customers right outside of the Lan family's doors? Ruoxua. Lan Lai's eyes lit up, and he was so excited that he stammered. Heavens! How enjoyable! Haha! Let's see how that damn old man will clean up this mess. He couldn't help gloating. Lan Lai, you enter the city. I'm not going in either, Lung Wudi said. He felt that he would encounter more interesting things with Lung Ruoxue and the others. I'm not going in either, Sun Ting said. Hee, then I won't be going home either. I'll stay outside the city to accompany you. Lon Lai said happily. He was so excited now. He was happy just thinking that the damn old man was going to be frustrated. No, Lung Ruoxue refused. Why? Lon Lai asked pitifully, almost crying from anxiety. Come here. Lung Ruoxue called Lon Lai and the others. Then she whispered something in their ears. The expressions on their faces were very strange, but they nodded frequently. Let's enter the city, Lon Lai said in high spirits. Lung Wudi and Sun Ting nodded, and the three of them strode into Blue Cloud City first. Lon Ming, aren't you going into the city? Lung Ruoxue glanced at Lon Ming. She thought Lon Ming would go in with Lon Lai and the others. I brought you here. If you can't enter, how can I enter the city alone? Lon Ming said lightly. In fact, even if he entered the city, he would still be looking for an inn to stay in. If that was the case, he would rather be together with Lung Ruoxue and the others. Lung Ruoxue nodded. In fact, she knew about Lon Ming's situation. You are really courting death. Lon Ninger, who had just returned to her senses, roared directly after reacting. Your young master has entered the city. Aren't you going back? Lung Ruoxue ignored Lon Ninger's anger and spoke directly to the group of guards. Let's go, the leader of the guards directly ordered, and all the guards left Lon Ninger and her sister, turning around to leave. Little sister Ninger, let's go too. Lon Feier saw that her beloved had entered the city and was in no mood to stay outside the city. Humph. Just you wait. You are dead meat. With that, Lon Ninger angrily returned to Blue Cloud City with Lon Feier. Schwer, everyone has left. Let's cook. Freak suggested. He was hungry. Yes, let's get started. Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. Alas. This foodie. But they had planned to cook anyway. Everyone worked together and quickly prepared a sumptuous table of food. After lunch was ready, Lung Ruoxue sent some to her cute beasts, and then returned to have lunch with everyone. After eating, Lung Ruoxue felt like taking an afternoon nap. She said goodbye to everyone and returned to her tent. Little NN continue working hard. We'll take a nap too. Lung Qingtian looked at Zhang An. Okay, please go ahead. Zhang En said hurriedly. It was noon, and there was so much sunlight. If they didn't have to leave someone to guard the stall, he also wanted to sleep. Everyone said goodbye to Zhang En, and then entered their tents. After some time, Zhang En leaned back on a recliner and fell asleep. Chapter 424. Setting up a stall and poaching in the corner 1. Zhang En, wake up. Charm stretched out his little paw and shook Zhang En's clothes. Did I fall asleep? Charm, what's the matter? Zhang En said awkwardly. Ooh, how did I fall asleep? Someone wants to exchange herbs. Charm pointed at the old man beside him. At this moment, Zhang En discovered that there was a very inconspicuous little old man dressed in ordinary clothes standing beside Charm. Although this little old man wasn't good-looking, his eyes were overflowing with light. Moreover, he was sizing Zhang En up. May I know what medicinal herbs you want to exchange for? Zhang En asked very politely. He couldn't tell this old man's strength at all, so it had to be above his. I heard from those beasts that you have all sorts of medicinal herbs, so I came to take a look. If there's anything I need, I'm willing to exchange with you for something of equal value. The little old man said skeptically. Alas! He had lived for many years and to be honest, he had really never seen such an eloquent beast. If not for his strong willpower, he would probably have been convinced by them long ago. Old man, take a look at this first. Zhang En took out 2 signs from his ring and placed them in front of the old man. The 2 signs each had the herbs they needed and the herbs they possessed. Do you really have all these? The little old man said with a face full of shock and disbelief after looking at the contents of the sign. Heavens! Who is this person? He actually has all the herbs I need. Of course. How is it? Old man, is there anything you want to exchange for? Zhang En asked with a smile. He knew very well that the medicinal herbs they possessed were enough to make any alchemist go crazy. Yes, I want to exchange for these, the little old man said happily. Alas, it seemed like he didn't come for nothing this time. Do you have what we need? Zheng'an asked again. Their young lady felt that they didn't have enough herbs, so she wanted to exchange for some that they didn't have or didn't have a lot. I need to exchange for 10 types of herbs, but I only have 8 that you need. Can I exchange something else? The little old man said after some hesitation. Something else? What is it? Zheng'an asked curiously. At this moment, the little old man took out a red flower from his ring. It was palm-sized and red like fire. There seemed to be liquid flowing slowly in the petals. Moreover, the fragrance of the flower alone was refreshing. Can I use this to exchange for the remaining 2 herbs? The little old man said reluctantly. He had been keeping it ever since he unintentionally obtained this red flower. Moreover, he had searched through all the ancient books, but he didn't know what this red flower was. But he was sure that this flower was definitely something good. Zheng'an couldn't make up his mind. Every one of the medicinal herbs that their young lady took out to exchange for was a priceless treasure on the boundless heaven continent. Moreover, many medicinal herbs were unable to be measured with money, but if he exchanged their precious medicinal herbs for a red flower that he couldn't name at all, to be honest, he really didn't have the guts. Zheng'an, exchange with this old man. Lung Ruoxua opened the tent and walked out. Yes, Mississippi. Zheng'an was relieved. The little old man looked up at Lung Ruoxua and sized her up. The more he looked, the more surprised he was. The fire attribute on this little girl was so rich. She should also be an alchemist. Moreover, he didn't expect a mystic monarch to actually call an elementary mystic Mississippi. I wonder which family she's from. Old man. I'm just an ordinary person on the boundless heaven continent. He lost a bet with me, so he recognized me as his master, Lung Ruoxua explained understandingly. Alas! This old man's thoughts were all written on his face. It was impossible for her to pretend not to see it. The little old man was embarrassed and wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Was I being so obvious? Moreover, he didn't believe what Lung Ruoxua said about being just an ordinary person. Would ordinary people have so many precious herbs? But since she was unwilling to reveal her identity, he naturally wouldn't force her. Old man, what herbs do you need? Lung Ruoxua asked with a light smile. I need a silver bellflower, a stalk of rootless grass, a spiritwood seed. The little old man said all the herbs he needed in one go. Then he took out the herbs Lung Ruoxua wanted from his ring and handed them to her along with the red flower. Lung Ruoxua took the herbs handed to her by the little old man. Old man, choose 3 more herbs. The value of this red flower isn't something that 2 herbs can compare with. Little friend, do you know this red flower? The little old man asked with a face full of pleasant surprise, his old face full of anticipation. I guess so, Lung Ruoxua said. Then please tell me, young friend. Treat it as offsetting the value of this red flower. The little old man said anxiously. He wanted to know what this flower was. It had been many years. Now that someone finally recognized it, he wouldn't let go of this opportunity no matter what. The origin of this red flower can't offset its value, so you should choose 3 more, Lung Ruoxua said. She didn't want to take advantage of this old man. All right then. But little friend, you have to tell me the origin of this flower, the little old man said worriedly. Okay. Lung Ruoxua nodded. I've chosen. The little old man looked at Lung Ruoxua eagerly after choosing 3 herbs. This red flower is called the blood-weeping flower. It is the main ingredient for concocting the blood-weeping pill. The blood-weeping pill is a legendary divine-grade pill. Lung Ruoxua only gave a simple explanation, but she believed that this old man would understand. Blood-weeping pill. No wonder. The little old man couldn't help sighing. It was actually the legendary blood-weeping flower. Alas! He had heard of the famous blood-weeping flower. However, the records of the blood-weeping flower, as well as the pill formula for the blood-weeping pill, had already disappeared from the boundless heaven continent for thousands of years. No one could refine the blood-weeping pill on the current boundless heaven continent. It was a pill that would make even mystic supremacies go crazy over. Unfortunately, It had long been lost. Chapter 425. Setting up a stall and poaching in the corner. 1. Old man, now that you know the origin of this flower, do you still want to exchange it with me? Lung Ruoxua asked with a light smile. Yes, I won't change my mind. Although the blood-weeping flower is precious, I'm afraid I won't be able to concoct the pill even if I devote my entire life to it. However, can you let me take a look if you concoct the blood-weeping pill one day in the future? The little old man asked expectantly. Since this woman in front of him knew the blood-weeping flower, she might also concoct the blood-weeping pill in the future. Okay. Lung Ruoxua nodded in agreement. She had a good impression of this little old man. She was just testing his character by asking him whether he would go back on his word. Then I wish you success in advance, the little old man said happily, his face full of relief. Old man, these are the herbs you want. Please check them. While Lung Ruoxua was speaking to the little old man, Zheng En had already taken out the herbs the old man wanted from the ring and handed them to him. Little friend, these herbs. The little old man was very surprised after taking the herbs and looking at them because the quality of these herbs was really too good, better than he had imagined. Moreover, all the herbs were actually fresh. This was really unbelievable. What? Aren't you satisfied? Lung Ruoxua teased. She was especially happy to obtain the blood-weeping flower. Ah no, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. I'm just a little surprised. The quality of these herbs is too good. They will definitely make all the alchemists crazy, the little old man quickly said. He knew that this little friend in front of him was just joking with him, but he still explained very seriously, afraid that she would misunderstand. The main reason was that he was too satisfied with the exchange this time. He didn't expect to exchange for all the herbs he needed so easily. He originally thought that it would be good if he could exchange for half of them. After all, almost all the herbs he wanted were things that couldn't be bought with money. It's good that you're satisfied, Lung Ruoxua said with a light smile. Then, little friend, why don't you go to Blue Cloud City to exchange with others? The quality of these herbs will definitely make all the alchemists crazy, the little old man said with a face full of doubt. Since they were already in Blue Cloud City, why didn't they enter the city? Even if they weren't qualified to participate in the official exchange, they could still set up a stall at the entrance of the venue to exchange with others. After all, many alchemists did so he couldn't understand it at all. Alas, it's a long story. The young master of the Lan family originally sent us an invitation, but the fifth young lady of the Lan family refused to let us enter the city no matter what. She is the most favored little princess of the Lan family, and we are only ordinary people. How could we dare to disobey the little princess? You know, even the young master of the Lan family has to do things according to Lan Ning'er's mood. Not to mention us. Therefore, we could only set up a stall outside the city to exchange for some herbs we need, Lung Ruoxua said with tears in her eyes. She was so pitiful. She was just short of tears. But I heard that the fifth young lady of the Lan family is educated and polite. She's a very well-mannered young lady from a prestigious family, and she's very filial. There's no one in the Lan family who doesn't like her, the little old man said doubtfully. Old man, haven't you heard that rumors stop at the wise? You have to see for yourself. What I just told you is my personal experience. Lan Ning'er is quite beautiful, but her personality? It's really not flattering. In addition, she doesn't know manners or respect at all. My companions are already so old, but she still calls them ugly. Give us your honest opinion. I admit that we are a little ugly, but who are we getting in the way with our ugliness? Don't you think so? Lung Ruoxua began to ramble on as if she had met a bosom buddy. The more the little old man heard, the more his brows furrowed. As for Zheng En, who had been standing by the side, his forehead was full of black lines, and his heart was full of cold sweat. No matter who you offend, don't offend my young lady. Otherwise, you won't even know how you died. Is what you said true? The little old man asked doubtfully after listening for a while. It's absolutely true, even more so than pearls, Lung Ruoxua promised. Then she deliberately paused and continued. Old man, I won't hide it from you. I heard that the fifth young lady of the Lan family is a very talented alchemist. Moreover, it's said that the master of the Alchemist Association headquarters president intends to take her in as his disciple personally. Alas, that poor old man. I'm praying for him, hoping that his tolerance is strong enough not to be angered to death by Lan Ninger. Would that old man be so miserable if he accepted Lan Ninger as his disciple? The little old man's mouth twitched. Isn't this girl exaggerating a little too much? Old man, if you don't believe me, you can verify it yourself. With your current attire, Lan Ninger will definitely treat you as a beggar. Lung Ruoxia said confidently. Surely not, right? The little old man looked down at the clothes on his body. Although they were not very luxurious, they were very clean. She shouldn't treat him as a beggar. Why don't we make a bet? Lung Ruoxia said with a light smile. She was really addicted to gambling. The little old man was interested and asked excitedly, bet on what? Old man, if you win, I will provide you with whatever herbs you need for free as long as I have them. If you lose, you have to take him in as your disciple. How about this bet? Lung Ruoxia said with a smile, her expression very sincere and full of confidence. The little old man was about to say something when he felt someone tugging at the corner of his shirt. He lowered his head. It was the little fox. Little fox, what's the matter? The little old man asked curiously. Old man, don't bet with my master. You will lose for sure. Charm's fluffy little face was full of sympathy. Why? The little old man was a little puzzled and couldn't help thinking, does even this little beast not think highly of my chances? However, he might also be afraid that his master will lose. That Lan Ninger is so naughty, old man. Lan Ninger thinks I'm cute and beautiful, but she actually wants to kill me and make me into a scarf. Boo. I'm so scared. Charm doesn't want to be made into a scarf. Charm's beautiful purple eyes were full of tears as he spoke pitifully. His scared little appearance was enough to make anyone pity him. You're tuning in to the Limei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.